Good evening, running fans. Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. This is the Battersea Millennium Arena, the fastest park and the fastest athletics track in the southwest of London. My name is Lloyd. I'll be your commentator for the evening. I'm joined by my very glamorous co-host and fellow Belgravian in Mimi Corden-Lloyd. First of all, Mimi, welcome. This is your first ever time commentating a live athletics meet. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I'm delighted to be here. Thanks so much for the introduction. I am very glamorous this evening. It's maybe a little bit cold, but other than that, feeling fabulous. I can't wait for some serious racing this evening. I've seen a lot of warming up going on, so I think everybody feels ready, which is fantastic news for everyone.
Yeah, the spectators are starting to pack in now. This meet is in its fourth year now. We started Comeback, me and Steve, along with some passionate people at Belgrave Harriers. During lockdown it was. And I remember the first meet that we did, the spectators were over behind that barrier there. They weren't even allowed in. It was only licensed coaches and officials and athletes that were allowed inside the stadium to watch. And to think 4 years later, here we are, sponsored with one of the leading British retailers, one of the biggest global brands in the world. We've got food, we've got beer, we've got music, and we've got some incredible races.
Exactly. We've even got a big screen, Lloyd, which is a huge technological advancement this year.
We have a screen. We do have a screen. For those that are watching at home, we now have a screen down this home straight. So it's very, it's all shiny. We're all very happy.
We're looking amazing down that home straight. I think it's going to be a really, really nice experience for the racers who are going to be coming down there with the whole audience as well, cheering them on. I've raced here so many times and it's fantastic. So hopefully some great PBs coming tonight.
You are so true. You're so ready. I'm really absolutely happy to have you here as well, Mimi. It's going to be a very, very exciting evening, not just for me and you, but for those athletes on the track and for our spectators watching at home. On screen now, you'll see our timetable. There it is. That is tonight's proceedings for Comeback 2024. We have 5 open 5,000 metre races. We then have a new event to talk about. We have an 800 metre invitational race. You may have seen that at meetings like the Night of the 10,000 metres PB. And tonight we're doing it at Comeback for the first time. We have some of the best juniors from around the country battling it out tonight. And then we have the finale, the elite women's 5,000 metres and the elite men's 5,000 metres to see us off. And within those races, Mimi, obviously we have some incredible athletes. We're going to run through some of those start lists as we go throughout the evening. But I suppose the first thing I want to say to our YouTube viewers, if you are tuning into either Belgrave Harriers website or Trackster's YouTube, thank you for joining us. A lot of you have supported us to get this meeting back on this track once again. And as always with Comeback, we want to make sure that you feel like you are here and you feel like you are involved. So that does mean the live chat should be open if our team have done our job. So put your questions in there, put your support in there. If you've got friends and family racing tonight, give them a shout out and we'll make sure that we shout out your comments. But first of all, Mimi, you've just done the London Marathon.
I certainly have.
As have many at home. Talk to me. How was it for you?
It was, you know what, I love London Marathon, I love London, I love racing in this city. I think it's such an amazing place to be, and you have said that Battersea Park is, you know, super fast. It's, you know, all of the training, all of the work and all of the effort that goes into a race like London Marathon, it does pay off on the day, regardless of whether you finish it or not. Many people in this audience and watching will know that I did not finish my London Marathon this year. It was gutting, but you know what, I got so many PBs in the run up to it. And the training was incredible. Everything went really, really well up to that race. And I think sometimes you've just got to take stock, understand that it doesn't always go your way and really learn that. It was the first DNF I've ever had of my running career, and I've been doing it since I was 9. So I think that's a pretty good stat. But, you know, I do think that the community in London for running and the environment, the vibes of that day are just the most amazing thing that you can go through. So still proud of myself, but a little sad too.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's normal to be sad, and I think that shows how much you do care about the outcome and you train so hard, especially for the marathon, because you put so many weeks and months into it. But you mentioned there about the community, especially in this little pocket of London, and that's why I love the timing of Comeback, because it is the curtain raiser for the track season, and it's like, okay, marathon season has almost ended and it's like straight into it. And we're so privileged that, you know, we both run for Belgrave Harriers, we know so many of the people that are racing tonight, but it's also nice to see clubs from within London battling it out, but also club athletes travel so far. We've got athletes that have come from Fife and Falkirk, from up in Scotland, all down to this little track in southwest London. And I suppose my question is to you, what is it about the club running scene that you love so much in today's world?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And as somebody who's very involved not only with Belgrave Harriers, but I do a lot with Tracksmith as well. I was one of their pacers this year, and actually I did a lot with them last year going into London Marathon and their kind of marathon series. And you get to know so many people that aren't necessarily at the level that we are today. So we're about to see some incredibly fast runners, people who've represented their country, people who are chasing times that, you know, some people can only dream of. And I think what I love about London is that that's not the only thing that's going on. You know, there's something for everyone. Everybody is able to really kind of build a community around running in their own way. You don't have to be super fast. And you know, you can come and watch some incredible. I mean, it's free tonight, Lloyd. It's literally free racing that you can come and watch, have a beer, have a pizza, see some of the best athletes out there in the country at the moment before an Olympic year. I mean, you know, that access is insane, and that's why people travel down here to come and watch all of this. And I think the second thing that I'll say about that as well is that, you know, we're all in it together. I think there's much more of a team and a community vibe to things. Yes, you're an individual athlete, but we're all very, very supportive in this community. And I think that's something that is quite new because it's building so much, which is really, really impressive. So yeah, all passion.
And, you know, that's really shown in tonight's event because we do have some new updates for Comeback. You know, for anyone that's sitting at home and maybe you're involved in event organisation or you know people that are, you'll know how hard it is to put these events on. It might look great on camera, and tomorrow on Instagram Reels it'll look shiny and it'll look like it was a piece of cake, but let me tell you, it is so difficult getting these meetings on. There are a lot of loopholes you have to jump through. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of people you have to please and a lot of paper you have to push around just to get these races going. And tonight, the first time in 4 years, we've got food vendors. We do. We've got actual food vendors, and it's been such a challenge to be able to do that. We've got Korean street food, we've got stone-baked pizzas. We've got our first ever licensed bar.
I know.
And these are things that I know. Look at it.
Thriving.
Look at us.
Thriving.
But seriously, like these are challenges that have taken 12 months to overcome, to be able to secure partners that, you know, you can trust in and you can afford to get down here. It's not, you know, they don't come for free. And things like the screen down the home straight. And I just feel like with Comeback, every single year, it's getting slightly better. And I mean, it's proof in the pudding because the athletes keep coming back.
I agree with that, Lloyd. I think the other thing as well is that, you know, we've just really come off the back of Dulwich 5K as well, which was a fantastic event for so many people. There was Leicester Podium 5K as well, which was early March. That was a great event. And we're really just building all around those and working with those partners and kind of making sure that there is a scene and lots of races that people can come down and do. Because I think the other problem that has happened in the last couple of years is that it's actually just looking for really, really fast races to be paced. We've got fantastic pacers running for us today who are going to lead out those athletes and make sure that they're going to get those times that they need to get. So it's going to be fast and furious, and I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, amen to that, Mimi. And we can see on the back straight that the first race of tonight's proceedings are just starting to get themselves ready now. We are, just about 3.5 minutes away from tonight's first race. So we'll have that start list up on screen for you shortly, and we'll run through the runners for you in race number 1. As Mimi said, we have pacers in all of our races tonight. And as you can see, there is the first one. So tonight's race number 1, we have pacemakers in there. We've got various clubs you can see here. But from the inside out, I'll kick things off for you, Mimi, and then you can learn the ropes.
Take it away, yeah.
That's it. So from the inside out, in lane number 1, we have Kira Hickey. In 2 is Leonora Lynn. We then have Belgrave's own Orna McGinley, Sarah Reisman. From Guildford, we have Susie Lecoutre. From Brighton Hove, we have Jess Corbett. We have Scott Mills. Another Belgrave Harrier, we have Emily Bradley. Stablemate, we have Karen Zhang, Emily Goff, Evie Warren, James Morris. We have Steph Hewitt, big fan favourite up here for Steph. We have Emma Etheridge, Ellie Ravenscroft, Harriet Keeley, running out of Hearts Phoenix, Matilda Laidlaw, Penny Oliver, Jemima Ridley, Joe House, Pete Woodward, Zoe McDonald, Natalie Beadle, and Emily Brown from Southampton. And then rounding off the field, we have Nathan Visic, Sophie Cowper, and Laura Boehm. Now, first field, 33 runners. It's a big field. It's a big field, but we are expecting a couple of dropouts. You do get a few.
Yep.
You've done this event, Mimi, before. What's one bit of advice that you could give for these runners in the race number 1?
I think make sure you know what pace the pace is running. It's probably my first one, because these go out really, really fast, and what you don't want is to get stuck in a pace that is a little bit too fast for you, and then to be really kind of dragged around and then lose your time. So, you know, be a little bit cautious, be a little bit careful, and then give it absolute hell when you get into that 2K with 2K left to go. That's what we want to see. It's what worked for Kate Axford last year, and I'm really excited to see what some people can do. It's also a very, very diverse field today of athletes. There's a lot of different times going on, so find a little pocket, I think, and see if you guys can stick in. There's a lot of chit-chat that goes on that start line before you kind of see all your mates and you say, what time are you going out for? And I think that's really important before a race. So just bed yourself in and go out confidently and then build into it, for sure.
Yeah, spot on, Mimi. You said that like a true professional. One of the athletes that we just bigged up there is Steph Hewitt, obviously one of your very, very good friends, but also co-captain for Belgrave Harriers.
Co-captain, yes, cross-country and road. So, you know, it's always a fantastic thing to have somebody else to share all of these experiences for you, and with Belgrave. I know she's looking at sub-17 today, so go on, Steph. Give it everything you've got.
Give it the beans, Steph. You know the drill. But they're just getting their last bits of information there, and they are now under the stars.
A little nervous, Lloyd. Looking a little nervous. They've got this. I know they do.
Oh, me too.
I'm a little nervous too. For them.
And here we go. It's been 12 months for this moment, but comeback is back. Comeback 2024, race number 1. It's going to get lively up here. And we are just moments away.
That little hand signal's gone up.
I just thought he was waving.
Just waving them off.
So we are away in race number 1 of Comeback 2024. So many passionate people have been waiting 12 months for this moment. So much hard work has gone into getting this event off of the ground. And these athletes have prepared themselves. They've worked hard throughout the winter. And for many of them, this is their first track race of the season. And Mimi, look at that sight. Spectators down the home straight, up into lane 5 and 6 on the barrier. Oh,
that's what we want.
Hairs on the back of a neck.
I know. You know what? It's so exciting to see people just really, really building into a season. There are some big times that people are going after today. And what I've actually noticed when we were going through our little list, Lloyd, was that people have really been trying to get some times down over the last couple of races they've done. It's been a cold start to the year, and those PBs have been really hard to come by, so it's impressive always. But I think people are looking today to really take some chunks out of those.
And the wind, I thought was going to be kind tonight. You know, the forecasters look decent all week, but in actual fact, you made a point when we turned up. It has picked up a little bit, and up here on this balcony, it's a little bit breezy. I think the athletes are going to feel that, and I suppose for many of them, maybe they'll be thinking, do you know what? Early stages of this race, we're 400 in, I'm just going to tuck in and see how I feel for at least the first half of the race.
Exactly, that's what I'd be doing. You know what, when you're coming up against something that's potentially not exactly the environment that you really want to be racing in, I think you've just got to stick in. Callum's a big guy, he's a great pacer. Stick in behind him, make sure he takes a little bit of that wind off you. I've seen that Steph has gone out really nice and strong, which is fantastic to see, followed by Karen as well, who I actually raced around a 5K with, and she's a fantastic pacer too. So again, just really stick in that pack and make sure that everybody else is working with you. I think that's quite a good idea for when it's a little bit windy down that straight.
And you mentioned Callum there, he is on the front in the Belgrave vest. Now if you don't know, get to know, Belgrave have more than one kit. We're very privileged.
Love an alternate.
We have a home and away. We don't have a third kit yet, but anywho.
It's coming, Lloyd.
It's coming, it will be indeed. And Callum's on the front there in that white singlet. And I think he went through the first lap in around 80 seconds. And he's got a lovely little group tucked in behind him, headed up by Belgrave's own Stephanie Hewitt. And you mentioned before the race you want sub-17, and the pacemaker at the front, Callum, is taking them out at 17-minute dead pace. That's the job that he's been set tonight as they come down this back straight and they approach the 800-metre mark. And then when they round the turn and enter in that home straight, that's when we're going to get the first kilometre split, and that's going to give us a bit of an idea of what we're on for.
Exactly, that's kind of what we're looking at. And actually I spoke to Callum just before he went out today and before we came up into this commentary box, and he said he's looking to do something pretty even. He can definitely run a 5k. He was considering actually racing this evening, but he decided to pace instead because he's been off from injury for quite a while, had a couple of years out of track racing. So he's going out pretty even for them, and he might take them all the way to 3k, which obviously for them would be great news, especially with a little bit of wind on the back straight. They're really sticking together though, Lloyd, as you can see, so there isn't that much dropping off, which I think is quite nice for that lead pack.
It is indeed, you know, for around 17:05, we want 3:25. So 3:25 through the first K. Maybe you're watching this and you're a marathon runner, and you know, you're thinking, oh, 3:25 is pretty swift.
Feels a little bit punchy, doesn't it?
That's some serious running, and they're coming down to this first kilometre split now. We're going to get a split as they go through. Callum with a single file line of athletes behind him. Almost 3:25 on the money. What a split. So they're well on.
Yeah, and they're looking relaxed at the front as well. There's nobody who looks like they're particularly having a rough time at this stage, which you would hope for as 1k in, but you would be surprised that it can happen. So I think this lead pack are really going to go out together actually, and I'm hoping that they're just going to work together to get that time, because if you're following around Callum, you're probably all looking for a 17 or a sub 17 just about. So let's see a little bit of hard work from these guys. You know, some people can take the lead a little bit, and see them just, you know, beginning to really move and settle into that pace.
So who are some of the other athletes that we should be looking out for up here with Mimi? Obviously we've got Steph on the inside there, got Karen Zhang just on her shoulder in the Belgrave singlet on the outside. Are there any other athletes in this race that you think are worth looking at? Any athletes you maybe know that are in good form? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Karen's been racing really, really well this year, so she's appeared in a couple of kind of A teams for Belgrave. A few others are Emily Goff, who has worked really, really hard over the last couple of months as well to kind of build into that. She's right there, just kind of off that lead pack. We've also got Leonora Lynn. She actually represented Wales at Trafford 10k recently, so she's got a lot of power in those legs, and I think it'll be nice to see if she can do something a little bit special.
Great shot there down the home straight. You just saw our event MC Lewis Moses. We've got the big guns in this year, Mimi. I got the black book out early doors at the start of the year, and I thought, you know what,
pitching
it is, yeah. Who's the best person for the job? And unfortunately Jeff Whiteman was busy, so I had to get Lewis in, but not a bad replacement. Lewis is so experienced on the mic. He's done this for years across different events, and I'm excited to. Obviously, we're not getting much of an idea of the atmosphere because we're so infused into this. But I know what that is going to bring the event. I know that later on, when the masses of spectators come in, it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. And Lewis is bringing a lot of that.
100%. And it's always quite difficult being the first race, I think, because you are the warm-up act, and you know they're still going for really, really big times out here today. There's a little bit less of a crowd than maybe there is later on in the night, but you're here to do a job, and you know you really, really want to go after those times and make it really work for you. We can see that they've really stuck together here actually, and they're coming around really nicely. That number 16, who is that, Lloyd? Let's have a look at who number 16 is.
Let's have a look, Mimi. We've got our start list in front of her. Number 16, that is Anna Sharp out of Belgrave. Comes into this race with a personal best of 17:19.
I think it's Laura, is it Laura Bone that we're looking at in that pink as well? Who's literally sitting,
you are right.
Yeah,
you are right.
Sitting in right next to Steph there. So she looks like she's going out for something quite nice as well.
There you go, Mimi. Schoolboy error. Call myself a commentator, and I was looking at lane 16, not bib 16. So
if you're in lane 16, I'd be a little bit worried at this point in the race, Lloyd.
It's early days, all right. By race 2, I'd have got my eye in, but you are right. That's Laura Bowen, and more importantly, when they come down this next time and they hit that start area, they're going to hit the 2k split.
Yeah.
And if they're on that 3:25 pace, we're going to be looking at around 6:50. Now they went through the first k at 3:25. If they can keep that even pace, 6:50, that's going to be your 17:05 pace, and a little bit of a group breaking away now.
Yeah, it looks like that is Laura Bohm, there's Steph in there as well, and Susie Lecoutre too. I think that's in the green. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see when she comes round. 2 greens actually, kind of sitting next to each other quite nicely. They all look like they're on the pace. Karen's dropped back a little bit, but it's just in that little chase group, so she might be able to bring it back in about a k or 2.
Well, Callum has taken them through in 6:50 on the nose. That is 3:25 for both opening kilometres, so really great pacing from our Belgrave man there. He's now got 4 athletes with him. Karen Zhang is one of the Belgrave athletes who's dropped off. Stephanie Hewitt still there on the inside, taking the shortest route. We'll see a lot of that tonight. Canny racer Steph, she's got a great experience running on the roads, running on the track and the cross country. and she's still got 3 other athletes. I can see the green vest there, Guildford local club coming down to support comeback, and it's going to be interesting over this next 3 kilometres who is going to look like the strongest contender to take the win in race number 1.
Exactly. It's nice to see them all beginning to work together as well, and I think they're all going to try and stick on that pace. It looks like they're all quite comfortable still, which is fantastic news. And again, we're really just beginning to see those runners drop off and settle into their pace now. It's to be expected. 5K is actually a really long race. I always think that every time I race it. You know, 3K is really, really tough on the legs. 5K always feels longer than you think it's going to. So you can see them coming around here. Again, that lead pack is looking really, really strong actually, and they're working together nicely. And it's beginning to just slightly string out in the back. And I'm looking at Karen right now, and I'm hoping that she can just stick on that pace, keep going. They're just over that 2K point, aren't they, Lloyd? So
yeah,
we're beginning to really see what it's going to look like in this last 3K, and how these moves are going to be made into seeing who might be able to win our first race of the evening.
That's right. 10:15. That's what we want. Around that mark, 3K. And Callum, I think Callum's going to take him.
Yeah.
3K bang on, and that 4's now becoming a 5. I think we've got a Southampton athlete that's just starting to bridge that gap. That is, I'll just need to collect.
Emily Brown?
It could be Emily Brown, but we've also got Ellie Ravenscroft in there from Southampton as well. There's 2 of those Southampton athletes, so we'll confirm when they come round on the next lap. But coming up on 9 minutes now on the clock, they are well into the business end of this race, and this is when moves are going to start to happen. We've seen it so many times down here at Battersea Millennium Arena. The race is always won and lost in that second half. A little bit like the marathon.
Oh yeah. And you know what? You don't want your legs to run out of steam halfway through that either, Lloyd. So absolutely, let's see if these guys can keep going. There's also actually another little chase pack that are working together really nicely. I love to see this kind of thing, because you always look at the lead pack, you always look at the people who are in the front. We're always kind of, you know, talking around them. But there's a really nice group of girls over there just working together, trying to get that time, and I love to see that.
This front pack is really, really moving swiftly. Callum's doing a fantastic job on the front. So let's get a name on all of these athletes that are tucked in behind the athlete and the pacemaker. So we've got Steph Hewitt on the front. We've got bib number 16. That's Lauren Bowen out of Clapham Chasers in second place in the pink singlet on the outside. We have the 2 Guildford athletes. I believe that's Susie Lecoutre and Evie Warren.
Yeah, that's one.
Up in that front group. They're your front 4, chasing the pacer in Callum down to this finish line as they approach the 3K split. They want 10:15 as they go through this mark. Callum takes a little look inside him. He looks super comfortable when through they go in 10:13. So a 3:23 there. A fantastic 3rd kilometre. Picked it up by 2 seconds, and you can just see that those gaps are starting to open up. It's Steph Hewitt that follows the pacer. One of the Guildford athletes has followed, and there's a little gap back now to Laura Bowen. Is this the break, Mimi? Is this the crucial point of the race where Steph says, I'm going to stick with this pace, I'm going for sub 17?
Absolutely. You know, one thing about Steph is that she's a very consistent athlete, so I think she knows that she can do this pace. She knows it's within her 100%. She just needs to stick on it, not panic, because 2K is still a really long way, and I think that's the thing to always remember. You break at 2K, but it doesn't mean you start sprinting. It means that you just start really winding that up. Do a bit of an Ingebrigtsen, is how I like to call it. Wind it up. Every single lap, just really thinking about taking 1 or 2 seconds off that time to break away from the lead pack. But these guys look comfortable. It's just the 2 of them at the front, with Callum pacing them really nicely. So they can stick with this. We might be looking at a win for Stephanie Hewitt.
So it is Steph Hewitt from Belgrave, tucked in behind the pacer in first place, and it is Susie Lecoutre from Guildford in second. She comes into this race with a 17:25. So between the 2 of them, there's around 20 seconds on their personal best, but both of them right now are well on for that 17-minute mark. Now, at this point in the race, Mimi, what are you thinking? Do we just float around 17 and then try and finish quick on the last lap? Or do you try and get ahead a little bit and maybe cut into those 16:50s?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it depends on how you feel. They're both looking really comfortable. Susie's actually looking like she's got a little bit more in her, I think. So she may well start to think, I might be able to take that. I think, again, if you've had a really, really good season leading up to it, Steph definitely has. You know, she's in that low 17s, so it's all for her to get in going on a sub 17. But if it was me, I'd be just trying to dip that under, do a couple of seconds, and not too much.
So if my maths are correct, we need a 4K split of Uno Momento 13:40. That's what we'd need at 4 kilometres. So what are we on the clock? We're on 12:25 right now. And we got a new leader, the Guildford athlete, Lecoutre.
Yeah.
Susie from Guildford has taken the lead. Steph's looking a little bit tired there, maybe in second. There's a little bit of a gap, but she's still in there. You know, she's still in there. It's just down to a couple of strides.
Good to be chasing people sometimes, to be honest with you, Lloyd. And Susie's looking really relaxed, though. She's literally chilling on that, on coming around that. So maybe she's just feeling super comfortable. Really, really good work from her. And again, she's sticking in with Callum, which is a great thing to do on that slightly windy straight on the back.
So they go through the finish line there, 12:58 on the clock as they round into the back straight. They'll go through the start line that time. That'll be 4 kilometres. That'll be 2.5 laps left to run. And they need 13:40 through that mark, 13:10 on the clock. This is looking promising. And Steph Hewitt in second is a gallant leader early doors, but she's still well on for a strong personal best tonight. And the athletes in third and fourth as well can still run low 17 minutes in this opening race if they can just stay on task for these final 2.5 laps. But it is Susie Lecoutre from Guildford tucked in behind the pacer. She's going to go through 4 kilometres inside 17-minute pace. Oh, it's so close. What are we? 13:38, 13:39. Steph Hewitt just outside 13:40. We have 2.5 laps left, Mimi, and I am starting to get excited.
Gritting those teeth. You can see when it starts to hurt on these things. And again, I respect a 5K runner so much because, my goodness, does it hurt. But you can see over there that Susie, she's pretty relaxed. She's been winding it up, exactly as I said. You know, that's a really, really considered tactic that she's obviously taken. She's stuck in with Callum. They're having a little chat over there. Callum's obviously asking her, do you want me to keep going? Are you okay? Shall I drop off? Steph is absolutely grinding it out down that straight, and I know that she wants it so much, and I am just absolutely there for her. So let's hope that she can hold on with her legs, because you know that the lactic's going to start hitting really, really soon. It's going to get painful, it's going to hurt, but you've just got to get your body over that finish line.
So they went through 2 laps left to run there. Lecoutre on the front. She needs to run inside 2 minutes 40, so she needs to run 80 seconds a lap to break 17 minutes. In second place, Steph Hewitt has now got company from the Guildford athlete, Evie Warren. She's closed that gap, gone level with Steph, and she goes right past. So there's a great battle on for the podium places between Evie Warren, Steph Hewitt, and Lauren Bowen, but out in front, 600 metres left to run, 15 minutes on the clock. She's got to cover this next lap and a half of the circuit in 2 minutes. 1:59.59 is going to get it inside 17 minutes, and you know what?
She might have this, Lloyd.
I think she might have it. Callum is still there.
He is. Well, he's chatting to her all the way around, which is lovely. Oh, he's just dropped out now, which is fantastic news. And here we go. She's coming down that straight. She knows she's really not got far to go, so she can just throw herself around 400 metres and get that time. Fantastic for her. I'm so pleased. She looks like she's doing really, really well.
Oh, we're going to hear it for the first time this year. Comeback 2024. Are you ready to say it? And there's the bell. Lecoutre goes through with 1 lap left to run. The Guildford athlete has come down just down the road from her local club at the Millennium Arena, and she has gone clear. It would take a disaster for her to throw this win away, but now she's against the clock. Her stablemate in Evie Warren has strode away from the rest of the field in second. It's Lauren Bowen in third, with Steph Hewitt from Belgrave in fourth. Those 4 are well on for strong times, but down the back straight final time, it is Susie Lecoutre. Let's get a split as she goes through 200 metres left to run. 16:14, 16:15. She's going to be so close, but she's going to have to close well here. There we go, 16:20. She's got to close this final 200 metres inside 40 seconds. 1:50 to go. She picks it up again. She's in a class of her own into the home straight. Viewers at home, viewers within the stadium, let's get behind the Guildford and Godalming athlete, Susie Lecoutre. 100 metres left to run. The spectators get behind her. She is flying down this home straight. Watch the clock. Further back in the field, Evie Warren has got a challenge there from the Southampton athlete. But on the line, watch the clock. I think it's going to be inside 17. Susie Lecoutre takes race number 1. 16:56 unofficially.
What a run. Lovely running. That was brilliant to watch, wasn't it? She just built into that so well. And these other athletes are coming in now down that straight. There is so much lactic in those legs, but they are throwing themselves over that line.
And that's
fantastic times.
That's Ellie Ravenscroft for second, the Southampton athlete. She's just run a 10-second personal best for 17:14, 17:15. Evie Warren, the Guildford athlete, comes through to take third on the podium. She was inside her personal best as well. I think she's run about a 6 or 7 second personal best. And Steph Hewitt wasn't far behind either. I think Steph will be happy with how she executed her race tonight. She went out hard, she gave it a go, and she finished strong as the rest of the field round this final lap into the home straight.
Absolutely.
To round off race number 1.
Indeed, we've got Leonora Lynn coming in as well, and Karen Zhang, who are doing some really, really lovely stuff on that back straight, just coming in to the finish now. Some really decent times here, and again, as we said, you know, it's been a really tough year for PBs. I think the weather has just really affected people running, and it's lovely to see some people really getting behind this race today and making sure that they are able to get to that finish line. Some lovely PBs in that first race already, which for me is just delightful to watch, and a nice, I think actually a nice kind of group of people really working together is what we witnessed on there. And it was absolutely, you know, brilliant to watch two little groups going through. We can also see Natalie Beadle coming down here, who's a really, really decent fell runner actually. So there's a lot in her legs at the moment, and she's kind of going after that nice time to start her spring racing. And the other races are just coming in to the finish now.
Yeah, they're all sprinting down that home straight, and we say it every year at Comeback, you know, athletes are chasing their own goals, their own personal best. You know, we might all go on about the podium, first, second and third, but running and athletics goes way beyond that, and these athletes are still chasing their own goals. They all train hard, they've all got those targets they want to chase, and that goes across all of the races tonight, and we're seeing that from race number 1.
Exactly. You only have to look at the finish line now to see how hard people have worked on that race. And you know, yeah, it always spreads out in a 5K. It's actually one of the most difficult bits about this race on a track. You know, you're getting lapped, you're going around it, you're just trying to go after your own time. And everybody has almost exactly the same experience. It hurts the same for everyone, Lloyd, and it's just a fantastic thing to watch. I'm so glad that we've got our first one underway, and some brilliant racing out there today.
Yes, it is. You're so right, and we're just witnessing the rest of the field round that final turn into the home straight. And look at that. That's what Comeback's all about. Spectators getting behind every single athlete that toes the line. I say it to athletes I coach all the time. If you've got the bottle to step on the start line, you deserve as much respect as everyone that goes over the finish line. And that's why so many races like the marathon, where you do go over the same start line as the elites.
Exactly.
It's the same here.
Yeah.
You're doing the same amount of distance, you're going around the same track against the same clock, so you deserve as much support as everyone else.
Yeah, and you know, the crowd here is really here to watch some fantastic racing, watch the people that are racing, that are there, you know, they're fangirling as much as they possibly can there. And I think it's really, really nice to see that there is a bit of a crowd already. People are making the most of those food vans and also the beer vans too. And those athletes who have just completed this 5K, opening the evening of racing, now can go and have a little beer and some pizza, go over their race tactics, think about how they feel about it, and be really, really proud of the job that they've just done.
So I just got a text there from Sam Crick, one of Traxxas broadcasters that we've got down on the ground tonight. We've got 3 broadcasters down on the ground. We've got Sikalo, Courtney and Sam doing interviews. We've got finish line interviews, post-race interviews. We've also got interviews with spectators and some of our fans. And Sam has just texted me saying that the atmosphere down here is amazing. And to think that after one race, with what we know is to come and how we know Comeback just builds and builds and builds, is just so exciting.
Isn't it? I think there's going to be some really nice interviews from some of the athletes as well today, and some good reflections, I feel, because, as I say, it's really an opener for a lot of people's seasons. So it's fantastic to you know, see that they are really, really have worked hard today. They've gone after their times, and I think they're just going to be able to reflect on that nicely. They've got something to build on for the rest of the season. There's so much racing to come, so I think this really kind of lays down the mantle, doesn't it, Lloyd, for how you're going to really kind of build into the rest of the season of track racing. It's still very early, so I think we're going to see some of these athletes do some incredible things for the rest of this season.
We're just seeing our race number 1 conclude its action over the finish line there. Fantastic effort from all of the athletes that towed the line in race number 1. And just before we get into race number 2, and we'll eventually run through the runners in a couple of minutes, Mimi, let's think about what we've got to look forward to. You know, in that elite women's race, we've got a massive showdown out of Belgrave.
You know what? It's going to be
Massive.
tasty. It's going to be so tasty. We've got Queen Kate Axford, who obviously absolutely dominated comeback races before. We've got Georgia Bell, who, I mean, there's just no other person that I want to watch racing at the moment. I think she's just doing some incredible stuff. Her indoor season has been epic, so that's going to be great. And we've got some other fantastic women also coming through that. But those two Belgrave ladies, yeah, I couldn't pick.
It's going to be fire, and we're going to preview that men's elite race as well, as along with the 800 metre invitational race. But up next on the track is race number 2. You can see on your screens from the inside we have Nathan DeHasey, we have Eddie Rolls, Patrick Brown, Marcus Brimicombe, Patrick Conlon, Chris Warren, Ryan Wilmot, Chris Motts. We have Rory Smith, Will Ford, Sam Cathro, Jake Anderson, Daniel Longhurst, Alex Hurrell, Robert Graham, Nick Turl, Adrian Bell, Mark Pepper, Alberto Simara Correa, best name of the night so far, Charlie Legrand, Dylan Clark, Ewan Fothergill, Andrew Lewis, Andy Georgeson, Carl Hamill, Joshua Seeger, Joe Atkinson, Joaquin Videla Martin, I mean that's not a bad one for second, and rounding off the field out of Southampton, Jim Davies. Race number 2, Mimi.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be quite a good one. These guys have all been racing quite a lot already this year. There are some really good PBs that have already been set. So we should see them kind of really going after it today. I think they want to do some quite epic times. 16:15 this one's going to be paced at. So we'll get the splits up on our monitor in front of us. The clock will be on the screen, but 16:15 we're looking at a K split of 3:15 pace. 3K split of 9:45, so a little bit pointier than the first race. Cool, rather them than me. Exactly. Somebody to keep our eye on might be Patrick Brown. He's got fastest on PBs. He's from Orion Harriers. He's going to be in number 27. But there are some other quite interesting people in the race as well. Some really decent times at the beginning of this year on this, Lloyd.
Yeah, a lot of these athletes are in and around that sort of 16 to 16:30 barrier, so being paced at 16:15 is absolutely spot on for them. As you say, Patrick Brown is fastest on PBs, 16:05 he comes into this race with, but he's got a season's best of 16:34, so he's going to want to improve on that. We've got a lot of athletes that are opening up their track season. We've also got athletes that are running their first ever track race in this race. For example, Chris Motts out of Belgrave. He's running his first track 5,000, and what better place to do it than come back?
Exactly, it's going to be a baptism of fire, I reckon.
That was a good line. I like that. I like that. We've got some other athletes in here that are worth talking about. We've also got Eddie Rolls, who ran the Tokyo Marathon in 2 hours 38. So
decent, you know
it's
what?
A bit of a sprint.
Exactly, he can definitely put together a really decent 5K right now based off that, I reckon. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, so it is Chris Moss' first track 5K. We've got a Nathan DeHasey. I think his name's great, to be honest with you. He's an under 20, so again, you know, maybe has a little bit less experience of racing with the big boys in the track lane, so it'd be nice to see him go out and try something a little bit different, a little bit new.
Yeah, spot on, Mimi. So they're under the starters' orders. Race number 2, Comeback 2024. So we are away in the second race of Comeback 2024. Race number 2, stacked field here. In and around 32, 33 runners towing the line in this one. And pace up the front will take these runners out in 16:15. And we're looking to get through that first kilometre split in 3:15. That wind is picking up a little bit. You can see those flags starting to get a little bit more wavy, as is the atmosphere.
I completely agree. And I think that will only continue throughout the night, Lloyd. They're quite bunched at the beginning here. There's actually 2 separate groups, which is quite interesting. I'm wondering if there's been a little bit of chit-chat on that start line, depending on who is going out for what. But I think they're going to try and stick together. Probably similar tactics to the last race, in that they're all relatively the same time. There's a nice even spread on the PBs within this race. So I'm wondering if it's going to get too strung out, or if they might go into 2 little groups with a little chase pack.
Yeah, it's quite common in these 5,000 metre races where you'll see 2 groups form, because the pace at the front is set for the fastest guys and what they want. And then the athletes, you know, maybe with some slower PBs that maybe don't potentially see themselves hitting that pace, but they want to try and get near it, maybe run a more sensible race. But they're through the first lap, missed the split there. I think it was about 73, 74 seconds. So we'll get a split as they go through the first K. but they're into the home straight. And they'll hear the roar of comeback for the first time tonight. And that's only going to get louder and louder and louder, especially as more and more beers get sunk.
100%. I can see the queue for that beer tent is growing slightly longer now, so people are going to get a little bit more wavy, just like those flags down that straight.
Yeah, I can see Belgrave's Alex Chenode in the queue there.
Loves
although he's just slipping off now to try and... He thinks we haven't seen him, but we definitely have.
Well, I think he needs to be absolutely encouraging a little bit more of that crowd interaction. A fun fact about Alex Chenode is he's actually the kind of man behind the social media for Belgrave. So a lot of the stuff that you see going up on there is Alex working his absolute magic, and he's brilliant at that. He's one of the most active people. If somebody tags Belgrave in something, about 2 minutes later, it's already on that Instagram feed. So he's phenomenal, an absolute workhorse, which is great.
Yeah, Belgrave is not just known for our beautiful kit and aesthetics, but also our social media is banging. So if you don't follow us, go and look at us at Belgrave Harriers. Little cheeky plug there. But they're through 2 laps there, just outside 2:30 on the clock. I believe that's Ryan Wilmot from Herne Hill, tucked in behind the pacer. Early doors, long way to go. Yeah, he comes into this race with a 16:11. He ran that at the Podium Festival back in March.
Yep, he's followed by Jake Anderson as well. And I can't quite see who was behind him, but again, there's a nice little group of guys at the front there, and it is beginning to stretch out a little bit more now into what looks like, actually, Lloyd, it's going to be 3 little packs.
I think you're right.
Yeah, what you don't want is, to be honest with you, to be kind of left hanging in the middle of one of those chase packs. That is a really, really tough place to be. And I think one of the decisions you often have to make when you're doing a 5K is, okay, well, if the pack that I'm in is a little bit fast, am I better off actually just sticking with that, maybe throwing my race plan slightly out of the window, and kind of joining them, or do I drop back? It's a tough decision, actually.
And dare I say it, that front pack a little bit spicy at the front. 3:07 through the first kilometre there, and we did say they've been set 16:15 pace, so they're around 8 seconds ahead of time at the moment. So what I'm doing, I'm looking further back in the field and thinking, who's made the decision to just sit off that front group slightly, and are they going to become, are they going to pay dividends later in the race? But right at the front, tucked in behind the pacer, the lads at the front there, they're almost cutting their stride. They're so eager to get after it, and it's the athlete on the outside, the under 20 from Ipswich, Ewan Fothergill, who has made himself known, and he's worked his way up now, up into second on the shoulder of Ryan Wilmot as they enter the home straight once again.
Exactly. They're going quite well. They all look quite relaxed at the moment. There isn't, to be honest with you, any real outliers. I think they've done really, really well by just pacing themselves into those little packs, as we said. I think this little chase pack at the back, it looks like a couple of club members are working together, which is really nice to see. I always love that. And they're kind of, as I say, just clipping their pace actually slightly in that back group. Yeah,
that first opening kilometre, I mean, they're not operating too far outside 15:30 pace, just way ahead, way ahead of their personal best.
It's definitely been known to happen in these races, Lloyd, hasn't it? That we've gone out a little bit spicy and a little bit hard, and we do pay for that a little bit later. But I'm wondering, maybe these guys are actually just ready for it. Again, you never quite know what the discussion is going to have been before you come to the race, and whether or not they're actually just ready to try and really throw themselves out there, do something a bit crazy. It's the first race of the season, Lloyd, so for some of these guys, maybe they're just going to try and kind of throw it out there and see what they can do.
So the next split will be the 2,000 metre split, and we're looking for 6 minutes 30 through there. It's Jake Anderson that's worked his way up now. He runs out of the Hawks. He's in the purple and white singlet, tucked in behind our leader, the under 20, Ewan Fothergill out of Ipswich. So Jake Anderson comes into this race with a 16:45. Fothergill has got a personal best of 16:20, so they're operating well inside that at the moment. And it's going to be interesting to see as we get to that 3K split, as we get to the business crunch point of a 5K, where, let's be honest, it's not nice. It starts to really sting. And that's when we're going to realise and find out, have they gone out too fast? I hope they haven't.
Absolutely. And I think, is that Charlie Haywood that's pacing them? Because he's a really, really solid runner, and to be honest with you, I'm thinking that he probably will take them to 3K, but he's got a lot within him to be able to run whatever pace they really kind of choose for it. So I'm thinking maybe they're going to have a bit of a chit-chat, see how they feel about that pace. I know that he'll be communicating to them, absolutely, and maybe they've just said, let's push it.
Well, they're approaching the 2K split now as they come down this back straight. 6:15 on the clock. 6:30 is what we wanted, remember. That is 16:15 pace And as they go through 16:24, 25, around 16:26 there. So second kilometre was a lot slower, but we're still inside pace. Now, at this point, Mimi, they've gone out super hard first opening kilometre. Second K has slowed down. If they want to actually stick to the pace of 16:15, they're going to have to actually pick it up now.
Exactly. And, you know, Jake Anderson's still looking pretty comfortable at the front of that. It doesn't really look like there's going to be too much chopping and changing from these guys. They look like they're quite happy to stick into that formation that they've currently got. Because the rest of the field is beginning to kind of disperse slightly now. There are a couple of guys that have fallen off that front pack and are just kind of chasing to make up time. I don't know if they're going to kind of maybe join their own pack and make it, or they might actually get swallowed by that chase pack, who seem to have got out nicely conservatively actually, and seem to be kind of making up for time, cruising around in a pretty even split, and I think they're going to absorb a couple of those stragglers from that first group.
In that front pack as well, got a couple of the Oxford University lads in Alberto Simaro Carrea. He comes into this race with a 16:33. He's tucked in nicely there. You can notice those vests a mile off. And we've also got the Tonbridge athlete. I believe that's Daniel Longhurst. He's tucked in fourth position, just on the inside. He's a 16:47 runner. So, you know, these athletes are well ahead of their PB at the moment. And do you know what? Good for them. Like, if they're going to come here and give it a crack and roll the dice opening race of the season, and it don't go well, you've got the rest of the season to sort it out. But you never know. You might be rewarded with a PB that you just didn't expect.
Exactly, and I think often, you know, it's men and women racers are slightly different. You know, they have a slightly different tactic. I think women often go out a little bit more conservatively and realise that they've got a lot more within them. Men often go out a little bit harder and then try and hang on. Both tactics work, absolutely, but some of these guys will definitely have more in them, I think, than they've probably run so far this season. And I do feel like this is a really good race to just kind of test that, because it's, you know, it's often not necessarily a target race for people. It's a warm-up into a really, really big season. You might want to just see if you can go for that time, and why not do it here?
Amen to that, amen to that. So Fothergill is giving up the lead now. It's Jake Anderson, new leader, out of the Hawks stable in that beautiful vest, actually, purple and white squares up the front, tucked in behind our pacer. So it's Anderson, Fothergill, they're your front two. The next split is going to be the 3K split, and if they're on pace, we're going to want 9:45. So next time they come round into that home straight, that's when we're going to get the 3K split, and we'll have a bit more understanding of whether they are still inside that 16:15 mark. But it looks to me like these five are starting to get away at the front there. Pacemaker's still doing a brilliant job on the front.
They look like they've slightly slowed that pace, to be completely honest with you, as in they look a little bit more reserved, I think, than they did initially. So they might have settled into it. They're all still looking relatively comfortable, to be honest with you. So I think they've got this well within them. But again, you know, that pack hasn't really changed formation since they've started. So they've all quite happily just sat into their spots, and they're going with whatever Charlie can produce for them.
I'm really, really liking Simara Correa from Oxford Uni right now. He's looking supreme in third. But here they come down to this 3K split. Remember what we wanted? 9:45. Look at that. 42. They're 3 seconds inside. So 16:15 is well on. Now, is this the point, Mimi, where if you're sitting in second and third, do you think, do you know what? I'm good here. I don't need to hit the front yet. I'm inside the goal time. I'm just going to take a sit. Or are you guilty of getting excited?
I mean, I think they might be getting a little bit excited, to be honest with you. But also, they did go out a little bit far. So maybe they're thinking, ugh, you know, if I go at 2K, I wonder if that's going to really take it out of them. If it was me, I'd probably be waiting for a K to go and just really seeing what that's doing. As I say, these guys actually, there's a little bit of jostling going around there just at the moment, seeing if he can maybe do a little overtake from that guy at the back.
We'll get a number on him as he comes around. It's one of the Oxford athletes. As they come round, let's just get his number. Is that 207? 207, yeah, see, that's one of the other Oxford Uni athletes. That's Videla Martin. He comes into this race, he's got 17:40 on outlist.
Yeah.
I mean,
he looks really comfortable.
He's clearly had a big winter if he's coming into this at that clip and he's on this pace. But those Oxford Uni lads are working together well. But up the front, it is still Jake Anderson out of the Hawks in that purple and white vest. The under 20. Fothergill from Ipswich Harriers in second, and it's Correa from Oxford Uni in third. They're your front three. Back in fourth is the Oxford Uni athlete in Vidiella Martin, and the athlete at the back of that group, I believe that's a Tonbridge athlete. I've got a Tonbridge athlete on the start list here as Daniel Longhurst, but I've got a feeling that athlete at the back of that group has been moved from a different race because those numbers do not match. But I want to make sure as he comes around this this next lap. But those three at the front, Mimi, it's just stringing the field out a little bit. That Jake Anderson is really, really testing these lads,
Really
and I think that's the pacemaker done now.
100%. I think Jake is looking a little bit tired, and I reckon if the thing is, we can see him from the front, from the back. You're just chasing him, and he looks really strong. His form is still holding, so you might be wondering if he's actually just going to kind of take you for a little bit of a run. But if it was me with those guys who are in the chase, I'd be thinking about making a move around now.
So that athlete on the back of that group, Tonbridge, I believe that is 179. I don't have him on my start list, so apologies for that. But further back in the field.
Oh, it's 170. It's Mark Pepper, I think.
Oh, is it?
Is it Mark Pepper?
No, I don't believe it is. Maybe, unless he's changed vests. I've got a Mark Pepper for Belgrave in front of me, but not a Mark Pepper of Tonbridge. But that atmosphere down that home straight is building up nicely. It's getting very, very busy now, which is good to see. And soon enough, this track is going to be packed full of spectators. That's what it's all about. But let's talk about what's happening on the track, because that's what's important. The pacemaker's gone. It's now down to the athletes. It's Jake Anderson on the front. Under 20, Ewan Fothergill in second from Ipswich. Third place is Oxford Uni's Vidiella Martin. And he's also joined by his stablemate in Samaro Korea. They're your front four. The winner looks like it's going to come from one of these. And Jake Anderson, you said he was looking tired, Mimi. He must have heard you, because he's stretching these boys.
Absolutely my intention, obviously, always. There is a little bit of a gap coming, actually, through between them, but I reckon somebody's going to make a play for it soon, Lloyd. Surely they haven't just sat in for this whole race, and nobody's going to at least stretch their legs out a little bit and see if they can take that lead.
So they went through 4K, 13 minutes on the nose. So they need to run inside 3 minutes 15 for this last K. They've actually run it really sensibly after that first kilometre. They've been bang on the splits. Jake Anderson is still on the front. Fothergill's on his outside. They're starting to bunch a little bit. And I think, do you know what? Have a look further back in the field. Have a look at the green vest there.
Strong legs there, isn't it? Who was that?
That's number 76. That's Will Ford. So he comes into this race. He's done a 16:27 on the road at Battersea Park in February, and he has gone under the radar this entire race. And that gap looks big, but as we know in these 5,000 metre races, with a couple of laps left to go, anything can happen.
Yeah, that stride, from where we can see, he's really beginning to stretch out his legs now, and he still looks pretty comfortable for where he is, in my opinion. So that could really be somebody in contention. Again, that kind of lead pack of four, they're beginning to wind that pace up a little bit now, and you can see that it's definitely kind of staying a little bit more strung out, potentially, Lloyd. I'm wondering if there's somebody that might drop off, and then we might get somebody beginning to come in and really see if they can make a little mark on that.
So the winner's going to come from maybe one of these five, if Will Ford can gain contact, but it's Anderson on the front, Fothergill in second, it's Correa in third, with Vidiella Martin in fourth. They hit the home straight. Here they go down this famous straight in Battersea of the Millennium Arena. Lewis Moses on the mic, bringing the atmosphere. The spectators getting behind them. I can't call it yet. There's so much running left to go in this race. But Anderson, he's led for a long time. It's going to be interesting over the next few hundred metres.
Yeah, there's some pain faces coming up there now, Lloyd, which is exactly what we want to see, because it means they've tried hard enough, so that they are putting themselves in a position where there could be some PBs here. I don't know. That lead group is actually really beginning to jostle now as well, isn't it? So there are some moves being made, which is exactly what I thought might happen. So, fingers crossed. This is what we're about to see, some really epic drama. Down that back straight final time, it's Jake Anderson on the front. He went hard at 400 left to run. Vidiella Martin from Oxford Uni has followed him, but 200 metres left to run. It's Jake Anderson running out of the Hawks. He's still on the front. He drives the arms and you see the cadence increase. He's got traffic that he's going to have to negotiate, but he's going clear, and he's going to take this one into the home straight for the final time tonight. Jake Anderson from the Hawks, race 2 leader. He's going to absolutely demolish his personal best. Further back in the field, Will Ford from Guildford. We mentioned him flying down this home straight. He will take second, with Vidiella Martin for third. But it's Anderson on the line for the win. He breaks 16 minutes, 15:59. Will Ford with 16:01. Vidiella Martin 16:04. And it's Fothergill and Correa all inside 16:10. PBs
absolutely raining everywhere. That was such an incredible last lap.
That was a really, really strong 200 metres as well, wasn't it, from those guys? And oh my God, what a race to finish on that. Some serious sprinting for a good last kilometre, I think.
And we've just hit 16:30 on the clock. How many athletes have just smashed their PB? Because we're looking at our start lists, and there aren't many in this race that have ever done that. No. And then PBs are going to be flying all over the place tonight.
Thick and fast, they're coming in. And again, you know, it's really, really nice to see when you're coming around that course, because it's a track, you can see what everyone else is doing. There's clearly a lot of motivation in these guys to keep going. They're seeing PBs coming in. They know that they can chase it. They are really, really hunting that down, and it's just fantastic.
Look at these shots as well, Mimi. The athletes striving for the line. Every single second counts. That's what it's about. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can see the elites, you can see the people in the Diamond Leagues, and even, you know, meetings like this when you see people run crazy times and think, oh, I'll never be like them. But you literally are. Like, you are literally doing the same thing, and I think this is what's so beautiful about our sport and what's so great about these club meets. And that's why we love club athletics, because it gives these athletes a platform to give it the beans.
100%. And you know what? It's actually meets like this where you discover the next best talent. You know, Kate Axford is a fantastic example of that, where, you know, suddenly she was propelled and everyone's like, who is this person that's just come from hockey? And suddenly she's racing, and she's racing really, really well. So it is races like these where you can really start to see some people who've been building. You know, it's been a long, hard winter. People have been really, really building on absolutely incredible times. And, you know, sometimes you can see something really, really special here. And I think it's nice to also run with people who are, first of all, you know, all targeting relatively the same thing, but also just to keep pushing, see what you can do. I said before about the pacemakers, you know, a lot of the pacemakers that we have for these races, obviously we know them and we've asked them to come here today and do that, and they are some fantastic athletes. So even to be paced by some of these people, that the times that they can do, you know that they can take you around it. You know that they're going to be really, really sensible on pace, and you can just sit in behind them, and you can learn so much from that. I remember when I was paced for my first track 5K, God, in absolutely years, and it was actually Steph that paced me for it, and she even splitted the entire thing. And I think I learned more from that race than I learned from so many other track races that I'd done before, because I realised that actually sensible is key in the first start of this. I think these guys put themselves into a little bit of pain going out a little bit hard on that race, but it did pay dividends. So you know what? Maybe that's the tactic to go forward.
I remember that first 5,000, Mimi. I was there watching.
Yeah, it hurt like hell.
Yeah, well, they do, don't they? But
yeah.
Next up on track is race number 3. We'll call the start list in a moment, but just before that comes up and we run through those runners, we spoke about the elite women's race. Now let's talk about that elite men's. We've got some athletes that have come back from America to run this race and kick off their summer season from the Hoka group, coached by Andy Hobdell. We've got Ellis Cross and Rory Leonard. They've been training out in Flagstaff. They've come down tonight with their own pacemaker. They've brought their teammate Scott Beattie to pace them at 13:20 pace, and they're not going to be alone. They've got 1500 metre specialist in James Gormley, cross-country specialist in James Kingston. We've got Scottish athletes like Scott Sterling that have come down from Scotland. He's a world cross-country Great Britain representative, and he's come down to come back. I mean,
it's a huge field. It's a huge
field.
Stacked. It's just going to be so much fun to watch. And you know what? That speed and pace that I just can't even imagine. I can't imagine ever running that fast, Lloyd.
I'll do it in an Uber.
yeah. I'll cycle it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, give me a line bike. Yeah. I don't even know if a line bike can keep up. I'd have to get one of those more expensive ones.
I need one of those little motorised ones. You know, that you can really, really sit in on that and let the motor do the work.
Too right. So coming up on screen for you in a moment, we're going to get race number 3 underway. This one's going to be paced at 15:30. So that last race was won there by Jake Anderson in 15:58. So we're progressing nicely. Now, Mimi, would you like to run us through the field?
I think I would, yes. So we've got Tommy Taylor, we've got Rupert Ferguson, we've got Alexander Wilson, we've got Ryan Keane, Harvey Martin, Adam Wetton, Steve Woolley, Alexander Janot, Belgrave Special. We've got Jonathan Findell, we've got Samuel Harry, George Hill, James Roberts, Alexander Prinsep, James Jewell, Cathal Kennedy, Ben Chapman. We've also got Simon Coombs, we've got Tobias Fletcher, Daniel St Martin, Richard Jones, Adam Hunt, Finley Cross, Omar Homer, Archie Marshall. And finishing it off, we've got Oliver Williams, Rory Steele, Isaac McAdam, Ed Hanton, Dan Galpin and Scott Pulley. 33 athletes in this race. It is huge.
Cry, you nailed that. first time. Everyone, let's get behind Mimi on the stream.
I was a little bit nervous for that one.
First time reading a race start list. I mean, I mess it up every single time. Like, I'm like, yeah, really prepared, and then I go, Steve.
You know what? I was just following your lead, Lloyd.
No, don't do that. People do that and they get it wrong. They shouldn't do it. I'm best when the race starts.
Are you?
Yeah, it's when they're stood still that I'm not very good.
Yeah.
But anywho, let's try and be serious and professional, because that's what comeback's all about, isn't it? Race number 3, as I said, 15:30. This one's going to be paced at. Right, runners and riders in this one. The ones to look out for. We've got Alex Janode, obviously.
Yep.
Social media fantastico for Belgrave Harriers.
It's actually his first 5K on track since 2021, so go get it, Alex.
Another athlete to look out for is Ed Hampton. He comes into this race with a beer mile personal best of 8:37, and I think that's going to hold him well for a 5K on the track.
I was actually hoping that he was going to treat this as a beer 5K, but apparently not, so there we go.
One of the fastest athletes in the field is Dan Galpin out of Bedford County. He's a sub 15 minute man this season. He's on 14:58. But he's going to be closely followed by Scott Pulley at Southampton. He's a 15:15 performer. And a lot of these athletes, they may have PBs that come from the road. Some of them obviously have PBs that come from the track. But with races being so quick now on the road, a lot of 5K PBs come from that surface. And I find that it sometimes is difficult to translate that to the track, and vice versa.
100%. I actually thought that when I did my first track 5K that I was going to be faster over that, but to be honest with you, it's harder because it's harder on the legs. So you're in spikes, it's a little bit new, you don't have the bounce of these new carbon shoes, which do actually make a huge difference in my opinion. And also you're very exposed, and I think sometimes that can really get in your head. So
race number 3, starter has just blown his whistle to signify to the start the timekeepers that he is ready, and we'll get ourselves ready. So 15:30 is what they want, so just outside 3:05 a K, that's what they want, and this race is under the starter's orders. Away in race number 3 of Comeback 2024, a full field and a sea of club vests from London and beyond. Pacer taking this one out at 15:30, and athletes to look out for in this one. We've got Dan Galpin with a 14:58 on his card, Scott Pulley with a 15:15, and Simon Coombs, the Vet 50 at Herne Hill. He's got one of the fastest PBs with a 15:27. Be good to see whether he can hit that mark tonight. But it's actually Sam Harry, the Belgrave Harrier, up the front early doors. And if anyone needs a physio, he's based in Richmond, and he's really good. He's really good. So there's a little recommendation for you.
Got some business as well this evening. Fantastic.
I'm on commission. But no, look at the size of that field. And look at that. You got the Battersea Power Station as a backdrop. You got the flats there that cost about $450,000 a month to rent. You got the sun coming down over the city. Oh, it's just beautiful, isn't it?
What a view those people in those flats must have this evening, Lloyd. They don't even need to pay. They don't even need to leave their house to see some of the best racing that they're going to see in this country all year, in my opinion.
I daren't look for too long, because I feel there's so many windows there. You might see something which you haven't.
Yeah, focus on the race, Lloyd.
I'll focus on the track, because yeah. Anywho, back to the track, and up the front there, we'll just get the bib number. I just missed that in the green vest.
Is that 124?
I think it
might be a 124. I'm quite good at this.
You're all right, so
no, I just need to find him. That's Cathal Akendi. He's actually an Irish runner, senior, and his PB is 16:28.
Excellent. So he's come in with some content. Coming over from Ireland, he might be based here for work, you never know, but the Irish athlete up the front early doors with Sam Harry out of Belgrave Harriers tucked in second. As I say, Mimi, opening kilometre, we're looking for about 3:05, 3:06, 3:07, which would have actually been the same pace as the last race.
Yeah, it's puts that into perspective a little bit, doesn't it, Lloyd? Thank God. But yeah, I think these guys, again, we've got a nice little lead pack there. It doesn't actually look too spread out, and I think these guys are going to, again, work really, really well together. That secondary pack that's kind of the chase needs to settle down a little bit, and I think they're going to really pick their pace going forward. Maybe find somebody to lead that out a little bit. It's actually a Belgrave Harrier that's really kind of leading that second chase pack, and that lead pack are beginning to settle into their space a little bit of jostling before, but now it looks like they're still going to be led out by our Irish athlete.
Yeah, around 2:30, 2:29 through 800 metres there. So as they round the turn into the home straight, they'll hear Lewis Moses and his beautiful tones from Gateshead and that beautiful accent get behind them. And this is where we're going to get the first K split. So what are we? 2:50 on the clock. We want around 3:05, 3:06 through this opening kilometre. A nice little group that's broken away there, tucked in behind the pacer.
And like they're just going to get into that.
Just going to come through here. We're going to split 3:02, 3:03. So about 3:04 there for the chase for the lead group. A little bit ahead of pace. That's fine at this point, as we saw in the last race. That race went out hot, but they brought it back nicely. They evened out those sort of second, third and fourth Ks. And Jake Anderson closed well in the last couple of laps to break 16 minutes. These athletes are going to want to go a little bit quicker. They're going to want to try and break 15:30. But one topic I do want to discuss, Mimi, is Comeback has had a bit of a tradition. And we decided it was the second year we did it. So it was the first year outside of lockdown where we could have spectators. And one thing I said, the only thing I put on the table, no, I'm joking. One of the things I wanted to put on the table, I said, media don't need accreditation. So anyone that has a camera, if you take photos, if you're a videographer, you're a podcaster, whatever.
Do your thing.
Come down, do your thing. You don't need access. You don't need a pass. You can do what you want. And what that brought was, there was a lot of videographers, there were a lot of content creators that just came down and did their thing. And if you look around the track at the moment, I'm seeing photographers, I'm seeing people just in front of us doing interviews, I'm seeing a gentleman down the back straight who's running alongside them with a big old camera and a gimbal every single lap.
That might be Connor Whelan, we don't know. He's been doing a lot of those videos recently.
And these guys don't work for us. They're not being paid. They're down here as a passion project, and they can take that content and do what they like with it. But the positive for us is that we get to see our meeting look better than ever.
Exactly.
But also, for a lot of these content creators, it gives them an opportunity to hone their trades and come down and do something they enjoy. And I just think opening that floodgates is exactly how you grow the sport.
100%. And I think it's really, really important as well for, again, that community aspect. You know, you've got to be able to see things, and it's a really, really visual sport. It's a beautiful thing to watch a lot of the time. And I think that's really kind of selling it to people. It's not quite pure sport run club, but you know what? I think there's a lot of grit and determination that comes from these kinds of races. And we really want to see that reflected in the media that people are able to take. I think everybody should have a go at kind of making some kind of content, and I just love the kind of race recaps that we get in the weeks after races like these. You know, we're liking, we're sharing, and people get to kind of have a bit of a keepsake of something that actually they work really, really hard for, and I think that's lovely. Our social media is all looking a hell of a lot better than it was a couple of years ago, and that's thanks to content creators and also you know, events like this that are put on and that, you know, look great. It's not quite the kind of homemade vibes that I think were definitely what it was like when I was growing up and racing. I remember a hell of a lot of athletics meets where it was just freezing cold. You'd kind of go, you'd race, and then you'd leave, and that's pretty much done and dusted.
So you're so right, Mimi. I think you're right. You know, a couple of years ago, I think it was filmed on a toaster, and now you've got these videographers doing incredible things. Fun fact: Pure Sport were actually one of our first ever sponsors. So yeah, that's. Just got to get the black book out. Just got to get the black book out. But listen, back to the front of this race. They're going through 2K. We've been waffling, but 6:12 on the clock. So bang on pace, okay? And up the front, we've got Thames Valley Harriers in Ryan Keane. Comes into this race with a 15.50 on his card. Sam Harry in second. The Irish athlete there tucked in third in Acknedy. The Basingstoke athlete is still tucked in there as well. That's George Hill, 1:06 in the yellow strip. And at the back of that group, I missed his vest number, but next lap we'll get a check on that. But that group are well away now, and they are bang on pace. 6:12 through 2K. The next split that we're going to want is the 3K, and that's going to have to be around 9:15, 9:20. But at this point, Mimi, in that front group, who do you think's looking strong?
I think it's all to play for. They've been moving around quite a lot as we've been waffling about other things, Lloyd, and I've just been kind of watching them. I think they're all really jostling for space because I reckon they've all got it within them. But, you know, I'm kind of rooting for the Irish athlete because he went out hard, and I rate that. You know what? I think that's a great thing to do, but it's always going to be a Belgrave Harrier for me. So, yeah, we'll see what they can do.
It's the Irish athlete on the back of the field that is starting to feel the pinch of this pace now, and these four are starting to get away. It's Ryan Keane, the Thames Valley Harrier athlete, in the sky blue, tucked right in behind our pacemaker. Sam Harry in the claret of Belgrave in second. It's George Hill from Basingstoke in third, and in fourth, that's bib number, let me just grab that. That's 144. Let's have a look at our list. That's Isaac McAdam from Swindon. So all the way from Swindon, the 1540 athlete is in fourth.
Fifth. He's actually in fifth. I apologise, Lloyd. That was my fault.
That's all right. It's all right. It's early. It's still early.
Yeah, you know what?
It's still early. But that group's well away, Mimi, and you know, even the group that's chasing, and literally the second group is the rest of the race.
It's the rest of the race. It's quite an interesting one. There's a lot of Belgrave peppered through that, and I know that they were all looking to work together. Alex Janot looks like he's actually having a pretty decent race out there.
He stopped buying beers.
He has stopped buying beers. I think probably a good decision, because much as we wanted it to be, it's not a beer mile. So I'm quite glad of that. But they all look like they're going really well, actually, and they're pacing it quite nicely. They look quite relaxed, but this front group are beginning to spread out a little bit now, and I think this is going to be quite an interesting end to the race.
Sam Harry, the Belgrave Harrier, the physio from Richmond. Go and check out what he does. But he's hit the front of this race, and he said, I want to run a PB tonight. It's Ryan Keane there in second. Out of Thames Valley Harriers, the Basingstoke athlete in George Hill, taking a nice sit there. And on the back of that group, the Swindon athlete in Isaac McAdam. It's those four in behind the pacemaker. The Irish athlete of Acknedy is starting to feel the pinch, but these four are well away now, and I feel that the winner may come from one of these. Next split up is going to be the 3K split, and now they come down this home straight. 9:15 is what we want. I think they've slowed a little bit, Mimi. I think they're just going to be outside, maybe 9:18. Let's have a look as they go through. 9:18, 9:19, so just a couple of seconds down. 2K left to run. They're going to have to close well.
Absolutely. A couple of pain faces coming up there, Lloyd, now, which, you know, as I say, it's quite a good sign, because it means that they've gone out really hard, and I think this is the race to do so. But that is really, really beginning to stretch out now, and we're starting to see Sam Harry slightly take that away, which is great to see. Belgrave Harriers, he's really sticking in behind that pacer. Looks like he and Charlie Hayward, who is the pacer taking him out, are having a slight conversation, maybe about pushing that pace a little bit more. I'm wondering if actually we're thinking now maybe I should go for something a little bit more intense, but he is beginning to pull away from that chasing three, and they are kind of really trying to stick together and work hard to get back up to where that pacer is.
So Sam Harry still in behind Hayward, the pacer, comes into this race with a personal best of 15:50. The St Mary's University alumni, and he is well clear now with the pacer. That chasing pack headed up by George Hill of Basingstoke. He has Ryan Keane and he has Isaac McAdam from Swindon to join him. It's those four, but right now Harry has made the break as he goes through the start line there. He's just into the final few laps, 10.5 minutes on the clock. He's trying to claw back those few seconds that they lost in the third kilometre. And Mimi, if anything, he's going clear.
Absolutely. Acknedy looks like he's in a pretty painful spot at the moment, and I'm just really hoping for his sake that he can, you know, keep chasing, keep pushing through. That chase group is coming back up. He might get a little bit absorbed by that, but sometimes actually that can be a good thing, because it will push you to get the time that you're really looking for. Again, this chase group at the back is beginning to split out a little bit more too. We're getting to the end of this race, and people are beginning to really understand what their legs are going to be able to do for them. So, you know, there's a little chase group, kind of about 3 down. There's 3 guys working together there, and then everybody else is beginning to really, really start to make it hurt. And you can see some of those, as I say, pain faces beginning now.
So the atmosphere is building in the Millennium Arena. I've said it before, but it's absolutely rammed in this stadium. I've genuinely never seen this many people at a comeback at this point of the evening. And Sam Harry has got so much atmosphere behind him. Lewis Moses doing a fantastic job on the mic. Look at those shots. There's no space down this home straight from about 120 round. There is no space. If you want a beer, you're probably gonna have to wait for about 20 minutes, because that queue is Ramo. But Sam Harry, look at this. He comes down the finish, 11:48 on the clock, takes a look at his watch. He may be starting to feel the pinch of the pace a little bit, blowing the cheeks, and it's the Swindon Harrier in second, Isaac McAdam, who's made the break to try and bridge that gap.
Finley Cross is leading that chase group as well from Aldershot, and he looks like he's had a really strong race, actually. I'm not sure if that chase pack are going to be able to swallow our Irish athlete, but you know what, they're giving it a good go. There's a little bit of jostling going around for them as well. So again, it's all to play for in this kind of back section of the course as well.
4K, here we go, 12.24, 12.25, it's Sam Harry, the Belgrave Harrier, still out in front. The Swindon Harrier athlete, Isaac McAdam, you can see he's putting his head down, he's charging for Harry, he's trying to bridge that gap, trying to get on the shoulder. You'll know as a runner, as soon as you get on the shoulder, you feel like your energy is just saved. It's like you're in the Tour de France, you're right in behind that wheel, you can just draft the athlete in front, and that's what McAdam is trying to do. Every single 100 metres, he's just getting a little bit closer to saving that energy, and it's exactly the same for the Basingstoke athlete in third in George Hill. He's doing the same, following McAdam to try and get contact, but so far 13.04 on the clock, is still Harry out in front.
Ryan Keane's looking like he's trying to make a big comeback actually into that group as well. He's pushing really, really hard there, and he is obviously one of our TBH London locals, so he's dropped off slightly off the pace, but he does look like he's making a strong effort to come back. And then we've also got Kennedy, who is literally he's just holding on. He's done really, really well running most of that race on his own at this point, and I think he's done a good job of just sticking in. You know what, sometimes you drop off, and it's how you deal with that I think is going to make or break your race.
We've got a real race on our hands, Mimi. It's Sam Harry on the front, and it is the Swindon athlete. McAdam has made contact, and you know what I think is going to happen now? You're going to find that these two are going to become a little bit tactical, and you might find that the Basingstoke athlete in third in George Hill, he might be able to use that as an opportunity to just get on the back, and then we're going to have a 3-horse race. But into the home straight, it's still Harry on the inside, McAdam on his shoulder, George Hill's floating, one's going to come from 3, and it can't go to all of them as they hit the home straight. They're going to hear the roar, they come down this time, 14.10 on the clock, they're going to hear the bell. Who's your money on?
Gosh, you know what, I don't know, because I think George Hill's looking really strong as well. I think he's coming back a little bit, and you can literally see just as they're coming over this line over here, he's making a strong play for it, looking relatively comfortable, and I think he might be able to take it back.
So they're going to need to close well. They're going to need to run 66 seconds if they want to run inside 15.50. The first to go is Isaac McAdam, the Swindon Harrier athlete. He's gone early. 3.50 left to run. As he hits the back straight, away he goes. The Basingstoke athlete in George Hill makes the pass on Harry. Harry's race is done from here, but it's McAdam up the front. 220 metres left to go. Look at the cadence, and away he goes. 5 metres clear, 6 metres clear. It's 10 metres now. It's McAdam's to lose. George Hill in second, Harry in third. Keane from Thames Valley Harriers running well in fourth, but it's all about the Swindon man with 1.50 left to run. He is away and gone. 15.10 on the clock. Is he going to break 15.30 into the home straight for the final time tonight? The crowd go wild. Lewis Moses gets behind him. It's McAdam from Swindon. He's going to take race number 3 at Comeback 2024. Watch the clock, 15.29, oh, 15.30 on the nose. George Hill comes through just a few seconds behind for 15.34. Sam Harry rewarded with a massive personal best of 15.40 as the rest of this field comes streaming down the home straight. What a race that was, Mimi.
That was epic, wasn't it, Lloyd? I absolutely loved that. Well done to those guys for really kind of gritting that out. And you know what? It was a real race, I felt like that was. You know, they were kind of jostling all the way around that, and the final straight of that, I mean, the pace that these guys have managed to get on after some serious racing is very, very impressive. We've also got a couple of the other guys coming in as well. Alex Renaud coming in there, looking like he's really, really strong. Again, all of these guys are just going to feed off that initial pace, and I think that's one of the really, really nice things about maybe a slightly bigger race. Having around 33 athletes in that means that there's quite a lot to feed off there. You know, if you're slightly off the pace, it means that you've always got people to chase, and to be honest with you, I would rather that. If I was a little bit unsure about how the race was going to go and how my season might be, that's exactly what I'd want to see. These guys are all looking tired. You can literally see how heavily these guys are breathing there, and they've done a really, really strong job of, epic race.
So, 15.30, I mean, that's what they wanted. Literally,
that's literally what we want to see.
Literally on the money. All the results for tonight will be on open track, so if you want to see our live results, you can do. And I don't know, I've not got an official result, but that was 15.30 on the money for McAdam there, and his last 250. I thought he went a little bit early. I was like, 350, he's got a bit early, but he went again, and you know, he didn't look back. But fair play to George Hill as well, though, Basingstoke athlete, because a couple of laps out, he was detached from the front, and
Brought it back.
Got tactical, didn't it? And he
Brought
got
it
that
back.
contact, and that's what it's all about. As soon as you can get contact, it's just so much easier to just draft athletes and use their energy and follow it.
I agree, and I think it's always a sign of fitness, actually, to be able to bring a race back in line with what you're kind of looking to achieve. Because if you're really, really, truly done, there's just nothing that you can do. So to be able to kind of move through the field a little bit, to be able to put in a really decent sprint finish, and kind of play it a little bit tactically, that shows fitness, and I think that shows that there's more in you as well.
Just a quick one for our viewers back at home. We are trying to sort out the live chat. Just found out, I've just had word that there isn't a live chat on the YouTube. We are going to try and solve that because we love having you guys, 9 times out of 10, support.
Just no one wanted to talk to us, Lloyd.
No. Unfortunately, the settings aren't quite right. But rest assured, the person that is responsible, I will be having words with. No, I'm only joking. But all seriousness, we're going to try and sort that live chat out for you so you can give your friends and family some shout-outs and ask any questions that you've got for me and Mimi. But we mentioned the men's elite race and the women's elite 5K tonight. I want to ask you about the Invitational 800. It's the first time we've done it down at Comeback. I suppose the question is, how do you feel about two-lapper down at Comeback?
I know, I'm actually really excited for this because I think it's going to be really fast and it's something a little bit different, isn't it? We've got such a good crowd here tonight, and I think people are going to really, really enjoy a slight deviance from the 5Ks and something a little bit different to kind of whet the appetite before the elite race. You know, what's actually amazing is that we're going to see so much speed in these last 3 races that we have of the 800, the obviously elite men's and the elite women's race as well. So that's kind of going to be the taster, the little tester into seeing exactly how fast these people are going to be running.
So next up, we got race number 4. This is the second last open race of tonight's proceedings. This one's going to be paced at 14:45. Oh, it's getting a little bit smithy.
It's getting fast.
So, going to run you through these athletes. From the inside, we have Jacob Atwell, Matthew Grindrod, Archie Coates, Joe Dale, Hugo Cashiels, Adam Milbury, Dan Bradford, Cosmo Benyon, Peter Hart, Alexander Rowe, Ollie Jackson, Dominic Howarth, Robert Sessman, Regan Tuck, Greg Deval, Callum Campion, William Bryan, Ewan Malloy, Richard Bartram, Angus Lamb, Jack Ellis, Joel Doy, Tom Foster, Harry Bell, Daniel Wallace, Chris Hudson, and rounding off the field, Belgrave's own Finley Dyer. This is race number 4, paced at 14:45. We've got some fantastic athletes in this one.
Some
Mimi.
big surnames to go after here. We've got a Sessman.
We do.
We've got a Rowe.
We do have a Sessman.
I hope that they're going to really, really do that name justice and go out there fast and hard today.
Yeah, that's Rob Sessman. In fact, is the brother of Phil, the 2:08 marathon runner. Or 2:00, well, he's going to the Olympics.
What was it? Yeah.
He's going to the Olympics. So he comes from good crop, Rob.
Exactly.
So, but he's a fantastic runner in his own right.
Worth watching, I think.
He's a 14:53 5K runner in his own right. I've chased him many a times at a race and never caught him. He's a fantastic runner. Follows his brother in his good looks. Damn those Sessmans.
Damn it.
But no, there are some great runners in the race tonight that have run at Armagh. We've got athletes like Greg Deval. He's got a 15:19 on his card. Callum Campion, 14:55 athlete.
Tom Foster, Guildford Gold Arming, 14:50.
One of the fastest in the field actually on PBs is Daniel Wallace, the Guildford athlete. He's got 14:12 on his card, albeit from a few years ago, but maybe tonight is the night he's going to roll back the years.
There's magic in the air, Lloyd. There's magic in the air.
Of course there is at Comeback, but race number 4 are under the starters' orders. Away in race number 4 at Comeback 2024. It never gets old saying those words. And things are starting to spice up. Once again, pacemaker in this one, set out to take these athletes through at 14:45 pace. And for viewers back home, the live chat is now working. So get your support in there. If you've got friends and family running tonight, give them a shout out. If you've got questions for me and Mimi, feel free to ask them. Keep them relatively clean and we'll make sure that we answer them on the stream. But this one, Mimi, there's so many athletes. I can see a cottage vest at the front. That's when you know things are getting serious.
Yeah, those guys are fast guys. I mean, honestly, I see them running around Battersea Park and I think there's Yeah, it's like a tornado coming through it. So it's always really exciting to see. Jack Ellis also racing this evening, I believe. And
first
he
track
should be
race.
up for,
First ever track race for Jack.
I think it is. And you know what? So he obviously is the boyfriend of the wonderful Kate Axford. Both of them are racing here this evening. And Jack has been training really, really hard over a long period of time. Definitely deserves a really decent 5K time from this evening. But it's hard when it's your first race and you're going out with guys this fast.
I know. It's not easy, but you know, it's his own fault for being so fast at running, I suppose.
You know what I mean? Natural talent. Talent.
Too right. But in this race, we've got some fantastic runners from so many different clubs. And see Guildford, and see Thames Valley areas, and see Ipswich. Who else have we got in there? Hernhill. Oh, it's beautiful to see. And we've even got athletes that have come down from Clapham Chasers and Vicky Park, all across London and beyond, all to get after it across 12.5 laps. One athlete I do want to make a note of is Finley Dyer. It's his track opener for the year. His PB is 14:54. He ran that last season. He's run a 10-mile PB on the road recently. He's in good shape. Runs out of this track, so he knows it well, and hopefully he can tuck in on that 14:45 group and be rewarded with a PB. But whilst you're talking, Mimi, I'm going to drop a little message in the chat and G a few of these viewers up.
Wonderful. Well, one thing also to say about Finn is that he is somebody that will go out and absolutely give it his all. I've seen him blow up in a couple of races, but I actually really respect that because I think he goes after the times and he's really beginning to achieve them. So again, definitely one worth watching. We've also got Cosmo Benyon, who is his 5K debut. So again, looking at something nice from that Cambridge athlete. He is an under 20. Who else have we got? We've got Jacob Atwell, who did 15:09 as a PB this season, which is great. Loads of track openers. Joe Dale, Hugo Casialis. We've also got, who else? Adam Milbury as a track opener. We've got some fast finishers at podium as well. And you know what? So the warm-up race of this is really often podium 5K. So there was one in Dulwich and there's obviously the Leicester one as well. So we've got some really cool ones from here. We've had a 14:53 at Armagh from Joel Doy, who's a Woodford Green Athletics Club. We've also had a 15:42 from Greg Duval, who was in Armagh. Again, that was a fast race this year. There were a lot of athletes who did a really, really, really decent race on that one from this year. We also had a 14:44 at the Friday Night Under the Lights opener from Peter Hart, who's obviously from Southampton, looking out to go and do something pretty impressive today. So everybody's kind of in the mix, aren't they? I think you can really go after it today with these guys, and they're all really decent runners. They're all quite sensible, and there's a lot of experience in this field. So I think if you're going to go for a big time, this might be the race to do it. So
2:58 opening kilometre. We don't miss the splits at comeback. That's just about on pace of what they would have wanted. They're going to be looking for around 2:55 to 3 minute per K pace, depending on how they're going to pace it up the front. Now, we've got a pacer in the front of the race. We've also got a Cottage athlete in second who's not got a bib number. And that might be a second pacer. I'm not sure if they've not got a bib number.
Might be.
Why not? Exactly. Unless they're a pacer. So 2:58 opening K. That's going to bring them home inside 15 minutes. We want around that 14:45 mark, so as long as they can keep clipping off those 2:55, 2:56s and close well, we could be on for a fast time.
Absolutely. Looks like Richard Bartram might be the athlete who is taking that out a little bit. Number 8 there from Victoria Park Harriers. He's done 15:02 in Armagh this year, so
it's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're running 15:02 in Armagh, going out in a 2:58 here, that's a sensible start. You know, you could easily hit the track, first track race of the season, spikes are on, you know, feeling good, and it's like 2:48, bang, and it's like, oh, that's a bit punchy. So that's a strong start, it's sensible, and it sets you up for success. That's what the 5K and also the 3K as well, it's what it's all about. It's not about running your first K the quickest, it's about setting yourself up for a strong finish, executing a smart race so that you can evenly spread your energy out across the 12.5 laps. I sound like a running coach.
You certainly do, and you know what? It's a long way 5K and it's a tactical race. So we've also got athlete there, number 78. Have a look at who that one is.
That's Tom Foster. We've got 2 Guildford lads at the front. That's Tom Foster and Daniel Wallace there in the green singlets. I mentioned about Wallace. He's got 14:12 on his card. He's coached by Andy Maud. If you're a running fan from around this ends and you do the Surrey League cross country, you know exactly who that is. Now, he's run 14:12 at best, but that was in 2019. He's got a season's best of 15:30 on the road. And Tom Foster, run against him many, many years in the Surrey League. He's a 14:42 athlete. He's run 14:50 this season, but it's his track opener. So he's going to try and translate that running shape from the road and hopefully do it for 12.5 laps around Battersea Park tonight.
They look like they're going out really sensibly as well. It's a very relaxed first group there. And again, these guys are fast, so they've done a lot of this before. I think they're all looking pretty chilled. It's a nice lead group, quite a big lead group as well. We've also got Finn Dyer, which is who Lloyd mentioned earlier, just sitting quite nicely in the kind of back end of that group too.
There you go.
Looking really strong.
15.55 through 2K. So that is first K at 2.58, second K at 2.57. That is beautiful pacing from our pacemakers tonight. Our first pacemaker has dropped. We've now got a second on the front. It's Dan Wallace up the front with Tom Foster tucked in, the 2 green singlets of Guildford. We've also got the Victoria Park athlete tucked away in there as well. Just trying to find the name on that. Who was that, Mimi, that you said earlier?
Well, we've also got Chris Hudson, who's just chasing from Harrow AC. He's the one in that dark purple vest. And he looks like he's just kind of getting in the mix a little bit there.
Richard Bartram, there we go, bib number 8. So they're your front 3. It's Foster, it's Bartram, and it's Wallace. They're your front 3. They are inside 15-minute pace tonight, but they're going to have to keep this pace ticking if they want to chase that 14.45. It's all well and good running 2.58, 2.59s, but you don't want to be left with a K to go, and you need to run a 2.52. So if they can start knocking on the door through this middle section of the 2.55 area, we could be on for 14.45 range.
100%. And again, you know, they're slightly starting to spread out now. There's a couple of groups here, Lloyd. You know, this is my favourite thing to talk about, but where these little chase packs come in, settling into their pace now, I think, really nicely. We've got Jack Ellis on that too, who are just kind of slightly without a pack there. So I'm hoping that they're going to start chasing a little bit, bring themselves around into that chase pack, get themselves nicely into that. I believe in you, Jack. You've got this.
That's why I have a co-host. You know, it's not all about the front packs. It's about the second and the third and the fourth packs, and that is exactly why you're here, Mimi.
My forte.
And you're doing a fantastic job so far. One of the athletes that I said about at the start of the night was Finley Dyer. I want to see him run well tonight because we both know he gives it the beans. He gives it his all, and he's in that front pack. He's tucked in 4th or 5th, looking supreme. One of the other athletes up the front there in the vest that I can only describe. That
it looks like the German. It looks like the German team vest, doesn't it?
Well, he's got the German initials on the back of it, so I think that
what a spot from me.
Yeah,
didn't even need that on the back. I just know the colours.
Literally, I was going to say it looks like something that maybe he's running for Porsche, but yes, it is the German colours, and I believe that is the Cambridge and College athlete Cosmo Benyon, the under 20. It's his 5,000 metre debut. I'm going to confirm that as they come round this time. He's bib number 13, and he's just tucked in front of Finley Dyer. But they're going to come round in front of us, in front of the commentary gantry now, and we're going to get a check on a couple of these numbers. So it's Foster on the front, it's Bartram in second, Daniel Wallace in third.
It's 43 as our German athlete.
Bib number 43, that's Archie Coates, the under 20 from Southampton. He's run 15.11. He ran a 3K at Watford just a couple of weeks ago in 8.26. So he's in some fine shape. If you're running 8.26 for a 3K, you are in good nick. You are in good nick. So he is well primed. He's the athlete on the outside there in the German colours. Just gone past Wallace there, and he goes onto the shoulder of our leader Foster, tucked in behind the pacemaker. 9 minutes on the clock. They went through the 3K mark there in around 8.55, so they're well inside 15-minute pace. There's a great front group there, 7 or 8 athletes. Any one of them could win it, Mimi. Who's your money on?
I mean, just because I bloody love his vest, I'm thinking it might be our German friend in the front over there.
Archie Coates.
Archie Coates. I mean, you know, it's fantastic, isn't it, if you can wear a vest like that?
Yeah, if you can pull it off. If you can pull that off.
Not sure I could.
No, it goes well with the socks and the shorts.
It does.
I think, well, he's just got one sock.
Yeah, I was actually
sock.
just working that out. One compression sock and maybe a little bit of tape on the side there as well.
I think there's a bit of calf tightness.
100%.
Not
looking like he does at the moment, because he is giving it some beans at the front there, which is fantastic to see.
Definitely relate to calf tightness. But further back in the field in that front group, that's Rob Sessman. We mentioned him at the start of the race in the blue singlet down the outside of Kent AC. We've seen many a Kent athlete conquer down here, and he's doing exactly that. And he's pulled out wide and he's making the move. The under 20 from Cambridge and Coleridge, we mentioned him earlier, Cosmo Benyon. It's the first time he's ever run a 5,000 metres on the track. He's the athlete at the rear of that group. So how many do we have? 3, 6, 7 athletes in that front group. Now let's reel them off. It's Foster from Coates, from Wallace, from Finley Dyer, from Rob Sessman, from the athlete from Cambridge and Coleridge. That is Cosmo Benyon. And the final athlete in there is Richard Bartram. They're your front 7. Any one of them could win it. And right now, they are single file, still tucked in behind the pacemaker.
I think if we've learned anything about the races that we've previously seen, it's not to write anybody off who's in that front lead pack. And you know what? There might even be a couple of guys coming in from this backpack, because they look like they're going strong too. This second chasing pack, there is some pace being injected from these guys at the back. But this lead pack is looking like they're going really, really well. Finn's just tucking himself in there, looking like he's going to put himself in 5th. So he's just making a couple of moves, which is really nice to see. Matthew
Grindrod, the athlete there, is in a bit of no man's land at the moment in the Brighton and Hove red singlet, currently in the black cap. He's chasing hard, and hopefully he's hoping that a couple of the athletes can fall off of that front group. But as it stands right now, there's 7 of them. They're all in contention. The pacemaker's now dropped, so it's down to those athletes, and it's now a group of 5 that have started to get away from the under-20 athlete from Cambridge and Coleridge in Cosmo Benyon. So up the front, it's Tom Foster from Guildford. Up next, it's the under-20 in the Germany colours of Archie Coates out of Southampton. Finley Dyer in the claret of Belgrave tucked in 3rd. Dan Wallace in green for Guildford. And just at the back, the super experienced Kent athlete, Rob Sessman. And it's these 5 that are now starting to get away as they hit that marker, 11:50 on the clock. These 5 are starting to rally, and it's now starting to get a little bit tactical. Who wants it the most? Who wants to take the win? And who's willing to risk it all to make sure they run that PB tonight?
100%. Finn again, just really starting to tuck in right there next to Coates as well, seeing if he can make a couple of moves. Do you think this is maybe a little bit too early to go, Lloyd? I'm not so sure, but they are certainly beginning to dial up that pace.
It's hard to say. It depends on what you got, what cards you got. If you're holding a good hand, you can do what you like at this point. At the end of the day, Archie Coates has run 8:26 recently, over 3k. He's going to be feeling confident, but it's a 5k. This ain't a 3k. You could go too early and sign your own death warrant. I think for me, my personal strengths, I'm sitting and waiting as long as possible. If I get to 200 to go, I've got to win it. I've got a kicker's chance. It really depends on what your strengths are, if you're a stayer, if you're a kicker. And just as I say that, Finley Dyer hits the front for the first time tonight.
He's going to try and take that away, I reckon, but there is always going to be a little bit of contention from Coates, who is still looking pretty strong. I'm not sure if he's just let him go a little bit to tire him out, Lloyd.
600 metres left to run. It's Finley Dyer, the athlete from Belgrave, on the front. Archie Coates, the under-20, ran 8:26 recently. He's in good shape. He's tucked in 2nd there. And it is Tom Foster from Guildford tucked in 3rd. Dan Wallace still there in Guildford with Rob Sessman from Kent. But these 3 enter the home straight for the penultimate time. They will hear the bell, and it looks like a winner's going to come from these front 5. It's going to come down to the kick. The only way we know a comeback. We love a kicker's race, and they're going to hear the bell. Let's hear a split. But right now, Mimi, who do you think's looking strongest?
I think it's going to be Coates, I think he's just sneaking. I think he's letting Finn go ahead of him. He's still looking pretty strong, and I think he might be able to come through.
So they hit the bell there in around 13:39. So 65 seconds would bring them home in 14:44. So they hit the back straight. It's Dyer from Coates from Foster. And it's Coates, the man, the under-20, runs out of Southampton. He hits the front for the first time tonight, and Foster follows him. Dyer still there on the inside. It's still between these 3. 200 metres left to run. 14:08, 14:09 on the clock. These 3 well away. It's going to come down to the last 150. Oh, it's going to be so close, but it's still Coates on the front, the Guildford athlete in 2nd. Oh, it looks like that Finley Dyer's race is run, but Coates in the Germany vest strikes for home, and away he goes down the home straight. Oh, it's these 2. They're neck and neck all the way to the line. It's going to be a photo. Oh, I daren't even call it. It's so close on the line. Oh, I think Coates has just held Tom Foster off. 14:42 for the win. Finley Dyer 14:45 for a new personal best. Rob Sessman comes through. Richard Bartram also over the line there with Dan Wallace, along with our under-20 from Cambridge in Cosmo Benyon, all inside 15 minutes. What a finish.
That was a finish and a half, wasn't it? Oh my God. You know what? The pace in these guys' legs, and to be able to really kind of pull that out with 600 metres to go. Again, still really being tactical in that race, I think, is so impressive. It was a real shame that Finn couldn't just hold on slightly. I was really gunning for him, and I was really hoping that he would come out with that. But you know what? A 3rd spot after, especially against people like that, You know, you've got to be really proud of yourself, I think, there. So an amazing race from these guys. Still coming through a couple of final runners as well. Again, you know, they're all kind of just kicking for home, and I think this was a strong race from these guys. Paced really well as well. I think I would add that they went out perfectly. A little bit, you know, just 1 or 2 seconds above the pace that they were originally going for. Nobody kind of went a little bit too hard and fast, and I think that is why we saw such a fantastic photo finish. Yeah, very strong race there, and a fantastic finish between Coates and Foster. The youth of Coates prevailed to take the win in 14:42, and officially that will be a new personal best for the young man. Came into this race, just trying to see his personal best there, came into this race with a 14:55. So he's taken about 12 seconds, 30 seconds off that. Nice little PB. Start of the year, PB, lovely. There's a lot more in him, I reckon, as well. He looked relaxed and comfortable throughout that entire race. And as I say, you know, you can sometimes see that with athletes as they're letting people overtake them. You know, he was comfortable enough to let Finn go because he knew he could come back, and that is confidence. And I think that's going to stand him in really good stead. Absolutely. Next up, Mimi, is going to be race number 5, the final open race of these 5,000 metre races. We're then going to head over to the 800 metres, and then it's the elite races time. But the atmosphere down below us looks good. People are having a lot of time, a lot of fun, a lot of food is flowing, a lot of beers are flowing. I can see a lot of faces from the running community as well. I can see Mo Hashi there, chewing the ear off someone as per. I actually did see Kate Axford has arrived. I can see Georgia Bell there in her Nike Pro Elite kit. God, it's starting to get a bit serious, isn't it? You know what? These guys with these kits, they always just look so fabulous when they come out, don't you? You know a real pro. You know a real pro when they turn out and they're in, you know, full mint green Nike kit. If only that was me, but maybe one day, Lloyd. Maybe one day. It is you. To be fair. Fake it till you make it, girl. The amount of mishmash kit that I have managed to pick up over the years is pretty impressive. So some of my running outfits may be slightly questionable, but you know, it is what it is. We make the best of the free stuff that we get. Too right. We're going to bring up the start list now for race number 5. This is the final open race of tonight's proceedings before we head over to a 2-lapper in the Invitational 800. Mimi, would you like to run us through the runners in this one? Absolutely. So first we've got Cal Mills, we've got Cameron Reilly, we've got James Tuttle, we've got Jack Woods, Max Walk, Lewis Laley, Terry Fawden, Naphtali MOULTON. Then we've also got Charlie Jones, we've got Aiden LENNAN, Michael Cameron, Daniel Ryan, James Hancock, Oliver BARBARESI, Henry Evans, John Fielding. Then we've got Charlie EASTAUGH, we've got Tom Chandler, Harry Halford, Oliver Way, Matt Geddes, Joshua Rowe, Brandon Dewar, Samuel GOODCHILD, Will PERKIN, Henry SILVERSTEIN, Brett RUSHMAN, Owen HIND and Flurry GRIERSON. A really stacked field here. Yeah, this one's being paced at 14:15. We do have a couple of runners in the race that have got BBs faster than that in Owen HIND, running out of Kent AC. He's just seen his stablemate Rob Sessman just run a strong race. He's run 13:58 at best. That was back in 2019. But I think he'll be trying to chase that 14:15 standard tonight. Wind is picking up for sure. My paper's all over the gaff. We've also got Oliver Way. He's one of the front runners tonight. He comes into this race with a 14:19 personal best from last year. He ran 14:31 in Armagh on the roads earlier this year. Charlie EASTAUGH out of Hercules Wimbledon, 14:18 personal best. A couple of years ago, or 3 years ago now, in 2021 he ran that on the road, but super 1500 metre runner and a miler as well, so he's definitely got the closing speed. Absolutely. You know, there are some guys that have done some really interesting stuff, and I think Armagh this year was a really stacked field, so a lot of PBs coming out of that, and I think people looking to chase down a couple of new times here. Having a look at some of the guys as well, we've got Josh Rowe, who's doing his track opener. His last PB was from 2023, so again, really using this as his kind of first run out. Interesting to see what he does here. He's got 14:39, so could take a little chunk out of that. And this is race number 5. They're going to be looking for around 250 to 255 a K. You know, that's going to bring them in and around that 14:15 mark, maybe 252 or so. But just waiting for the timekeepers to reset their watches. Again, it's looking busy on that start line, isn't it? And I think what you can see from these guys is that they all look relatively nervous. A lot of stretching going on over there, but I think, again, they'll probably have quite a decent race plan. You know, these are experienced runners. We're getting into the really meaty end of the evening. The twilight is kind of beginning to set. The lights are on. The mood is kind of turning really now to super fast stuff. So
it's getting cold though.
It's getting a little bit cold.
As soon as this race starts, I'm darting off and putting a coat on because I'm Baltic up here. I feel like I'm on top of Kilimanjaro.
100%. You know, we're on that little what do they call that? The crow's nest. We're 100% in a little crow's nest over here.
Oh, I don't know. A crow's nest sounds warm. It ain't warm up here.
It's
where's my free Belgrave comeback coat that doesn't exist? Anywho.
Well, I think next year we need to commission them, Lloyd.
Too right. So away in the final open 5,000 metre race tonight. This is race 5 of Comeback 2024. We've got the paces up front. 14:15 is what we want. And it's Cal Mills. Once upon a time used to run out of Leeds City, but he came to his senses and joined Belgrave Harriers, and he's probably got the best hair in running.
Yeah, as everybody eventually does, to be honest with you, Lloyd. Belgrave is the home of the best and the brightest.
He's Belgrave's own David Luiz when it comes to hair. It's beautiful.
He actually is.
If anything tonight, that's worth coming down to watch.
100%. Did you see that article recently, Lloyd? It was that London Marathon is the new London Fashion Week for running. I think it might be Comeback 5K.
I must have missed that feature in that one.
It was a good article.
But whilst these athletes are negotiating the first couple of laps, Mimi, I'm going to let you talk us through some of the athletes, and I'm going to go and put a coat on.
100%. There we go. So, again, we've got a couple of guys like Joshua Rowe from Cornwall AC, who again is his track opener. We've got Brandon Dewar, who's a Herne Hill Harrier, doing his track opener. These guys are really bunched together actually at the moment, and I think that's a really good sign because, as I said, there's some good times to come out of this, and these guys are really going to be going for it. I think Owen Hind is probably one of the ones to watch, who again has run a 13:58 in the past. 14:10 is the time that he really kind of put down for today, and I think laying down that mantle is going to be a great thing. They're being paced pretty nicely. The pace is looking quite relaxed, to be honest with you, and they are bunched. They're more bunched than other races that we've seen, so I think they're all probably going after a relatively similar time. Let's have a look at some other interesting people then. So we've got, again, Tom Chandler from Aldershot and Farnham. They've put out some really decent athletes into these races today, and they've done pretty well out of them too. So his PB was actually at Podium Festival, and that was a 14:29. So again, what we've seen from a lot of these guys from Podium is that they've really been starting to take a couple of chunks. You know, we've seen 10-12 seconds coming off some of these times from their last race in March. So he's probably looking to take off a little chunk from that too. Anybody else that looks relatively interesting, we've also got Will Perkin from TVH. Again, he was one of the others that did Armagh, and he did a 3:46 1500. PB was in 2023, and he did a 14:58. So again, you know, I think we can see a couple of seconds off some of these times. They've gone out really, really well, and they're still together.
Charlie Wiley running out of Wimbledon up the front. He's flying at the moment. Pacer in the black singlet. He ran a huge leg at the 12th-stage road relays in Birmingham recently. He's absolutely pinging in his training at the moment. We see him on Strava. He's in good nick, and he's going to run something quick this season, and we've got him down at pace. This 14:15 race. I mean, you have to literally get some of the best athletes in the country to pace these races. It's just a difficult job. Beyond getting a beer truck and a pizza van.
You know what, it's people are always delighted to do it, but the problem with pacing when you are a really, really decent runner is that you probably want to run it. So actually getting guys to come down and you know, have a really good run out is tough. You're right, Lloyd.
2:53, 2:54 through the opening kilometre there, and they are moving. They are absolutely rolling. That's a great opening kilometre. If anything, similar to the last race, it's a sensible start, setting them up for success. And it's Wiley on the front. I can also see Daniel Mulryan in the sky blue, the Thames Valley Harriers. He's tucked in active third place as they go through 1,200 metres there in just inside 3.5 minutes. So we're rolling. We're rolling out 69, 70-second laps. We are not messing around. Cal Mills there tucked in right up the front in the Belgrave vest. I can see Charlie EASTAUGH there in the yellow of Hercules Wimbledon in the cap. Owen Hind in the yellow just in front of him. He's the fastest on PBs with a 13:58, but still a long way to go.
100%. Interestingly as well, someone else that is worth watching is Michael Cameron. So he's actually rep Scotland, and he's still the steeplechase 3K champ for Scotland. So he's done some really interesting stuff, and I'm just quite interested to see how he does today.
He'll be glad he hasn't got to do the water jump in this weather.
You know what? We could have whacked it out for him, but
can see Michael Cameron there. He's just gone in front of your screens. He's in the yellow, he's in the sky blue of Thames Valley Harriers. He's just tucked in right in the middle of the field. So he's taking a sit, and maybe he'll make himself known later in the race. But there's a lot of talent in this race, and at the moment there's so many that it's difficult to call them all out. So what we'll do is, as the race starts to unfold, we'll call out who we reckon is looking strong. But so far, let's have a look who's up the front. Let's get a couple of these bibs as they come past us. I can see that's Harry Halford in the black of Birchfield on the outside. Cool. He's either been in Costa del Sol or he's been doing some sunbeds, because he's got a beautiful tan for this time of year. Harry Halford. We went out to Lamar University, trained and coached by Tony Hootchin. Great coach out there, coach like Severity Ockenden, Matt Arnold, James Stockings, and all those athletes that have gone out to Lamar. He's come back, he's in good shape, he's come down tonight, he's going to try and run a personal best. He's up there early doors in that Birchfield vest. But still, Charlie Wiley doing a fantastic job. They'll come around this time, get 2K split, 15:20 on the clock at the moment. As we say, if we wanted, what do we want? We wanted 2:55 a K, so they're going to have to, well, a bit quicker than that, 2:50 a K. We want 5:40 to 5:45. I think, we might be bang on the money. What are we on? 5:40, 5:41, 5:42, 5:42, 5:43. We are well on for 14:15.
Some perfect pacing over there, which is what we absolutely love to see. Again, as we said earlier, these guys are really experienced, and they're going to go out relatively sensibly. Looking at number, I think it's 236 there, which is the colours of Harry Halford for Birchfield Harriers. His PB was in 2019 actually, and it was a 14:49. So he's gone out relatively well, sticking in there in that second spot, just behind the pacer. Again, getting away from that wind. It's looking a little bit windy out there. Those flags are waving.
Current leader at the moment, Mimi, is bib number 7, running out of Thames Valley Harriers. There's a lot of them in this race, isn't there? They're stacking hard in this race. That's Oliver BARBARESI. He's a man that's been around the circuit on the London racing scene for years. Comes into this race with a personal best of 14:21, set back in 2019. So he's trying to have a bit of a renaissance in his shape, and he's well up there early doors. He's run 8:14 for 3,000 metres last season. This is his opener in 2024. It's been a little while since he's raced.
100%. He's got a lovely cadence as well. He looks really relaxed. He looks super chilled. Nice little matching spikes to the pacer as well. Love it when they do that.
I didn't get the memo.
Neither did I. But no, he's looking really comfortable there, and you can see that actually there's a slight gap appearing in that lead already. It's probably going to be made up in no time, but it's just quite interesting to watch that he is really, really rolling nicely.
Athlete on the outside, 224, running out of Worthing in District. That's Jack Woods in the green singlet, tall filler, the tall figure, should I say. 14:26 comes into this race. He ran a personal best at the Podium Festival just in March last month. So he's in fine shape running that sort of time on the roads. So he's going to feel like an absolute jog right now, ticking these laps off, tucked in behind BARBARESI and our pacer in Charlie Wiley. 7:30 on the clock. We're going to get the next split as they come through 3K. We're going to want something in and around the 8:30 to 8:35 mark.
I think they'll be bang on for that, looking at the wall. That lead group are just really rolling nicely. Doesn't really look like there's too much going on for them apart from just trying to kind of sit in. Also just looking there, that there is also Aiden Lennon, who is a Southampton runner. He is coming in that kind of striped top there with the maroon. Do you want to read what his Power of 10 bio says, Lloyd?
Of course I will. He's got a Power of 10 bio, I made a note of it, and it says he's a bit of a chopper and he loves Harry Potter, but he's also a 14:28 runner, so I thought I'd make a note of that. But that's the lad in the maroon vest tucked in behind BARBARESI. So your front group at the moment, you've got Wiley the pacer, Oliver BARBARESI out of Thames Valley Harriers, Aiden Lennon in second place running out of Southampton, and it's Jack Woods, the athlete in the green of Worthing. They're your front three. We've also got an athlete in the red singlet as they come through. I'll grab his bib number.
239.
That's 239. Let's get a name on that one.
I think he's next page, isn't he?
Yeah, that's technology for you. We'll just flip the clipboard for a moment. You don't get that on the Diamond League, do you? 239, Brett Rushman, Hearts Phoenix, comes into this race, coached by Andy Hobdell. I've seen Andy down on the track tonight. He's got a couple of athletes in that front elite race, but he comes into this race with a PB of 14:31. And these four are well away from Cal Mills now, but it's Charlie Wiley still on the front. They've gone through 3K, missed the split, but they are flying up the front. So it's BARBARESI, LENNAN, the Hearts Phoenix athlete in Brett Rushman, and it's Jack Woods in fourth. These four well away now, but I feel that the winner's going to come from the front three. They come down the home straight, the lights are on, comeback is back, and it is absolutely amazing to say.
This crowd as well, it's really, really building now. People are obviously coming in for the 800 and the elite races, but you know, they're really, really showing up for these athletes, and I think that's certainly helping the vibe, certainly helping the mood, helping them go after those PBs. This front three actually really looks like they are beginning to settle into that pace. I think it's going to come from maybe those three. I feel like everybody else might just be slightly out of it now, but again, they're constantly moving and constantly just about jostling. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting finish. They're literally chopping and changing between them, taking each lap. So, you know, and again, Lennon just kind of sitting in there right at the back on that three, but he looks comfortable. He's not doing too much moving up and down. You know, he's just kind of really sitting on the back of those three. I think he's going to really bide his time, and he might be one to watch.
We now have a new leader, Brett Rushman, the Andy Hobdell man, runs out of Hearts Phoenix, hits the front for the first time tonight and starts to stretch the field. Oliver BARBARESI out of Thames Valley Harriers in second, with Aiden Lennon in third, running out to Southampton. Further back in fourth, Jack Woods. Fifth is Cal Mills from Belgrade, but it's these three that are well away. Brett Rushman has put the afterburners on. He's pressing the pedal and saying, boys, I've come all the way from Hertfordshire. You want to beat me? You're going to have to come with me. And he is absolutely flying. That gap now is up to 5 metres, but has he gone too early? There's still a lot of running left. With 11 minutes on the clock, we've still got three and a bit of minutes running left to go. Could be too early. What do you reckon, Mimi?
Exactly, we've got about a kilometre to go, Lloyd. So, you know, for me, I'm thinking, might be a little bit punchy to go, but he is rolling down that back straight. So you know what? He might have just had it. He might just be his day. As you said, he's come all this way, and he may as well do a little bit of digging. But interestingly, as I just said, Aiden Lennon looks like he might have a little bit of a surge in him left, and I think he might just be biding his time and beginning to kind of roll his way up, because he's surging a little bit and then kind of holding off. So I'll be interested to see how he deals with that.
That gap that Rushman's built up, it's just big enough, but also just short enough for Lennon to still have a sniff. BARBARESI still tucked in third, Jack Woods in fourth. One of the Guildford athletes actually is making a real strong run. I think that's Cameron REILLY, 1430 athlete, who's coming into fourth. He's past Cal Mills. That chase group headed up by Charlie EASTAUGH. Got Michael Cameron, the Scottish 3K steeplechase champ, and Owen Hind in there. But up the front, it's Brett Rushman, 12:03 as he goes through the finish line there. Aiden Lennon and BARBARESI and Jack Woods follow suit, but that gap is getting bigger. Every single 100 metres, he's just turning the screw by 5 or 6 strides. BARBARESI now making the pass on Aiden Lennon. Is this his chance? Is this his bid for glory? Does BARBARESI now say, I'm going to go for Rushman? Or does he just say, that's a little bit too much tonight, I'm going to try and just secure second place?
I think he's probably going to go for a second place, a really strong second place. But if it was me, I'd be thinking, you know, I've literally led this entire race out. His legs are going to be tired. He's going to be really kind of rolling into that. There's a strong kind of lead on that race, but he does look like he's rolling it up a little bit, doesn't he?
Oh, I honestly could not call this. Rushman looks fantastic. You know what? The front five look fantastic. You've got Rushman, BARBARESI, Lennon, Jack Woods, and then the Guildford athlete. I believe that's Cameron REILLY. He is really making himself known, but I just think he's going to run out of metres. But they're going to hear the bell this time. 13:06, 07, 08, 13:09. Right, we need a 64-second last lap. Rushman goes through. There's a bit of a grimace on the face there. You can see the expression there in our third-placed athlete of Aiden Lennon. He's feeling the pace, but Oliver BARBARESI, he is flying down that top turn, down the back straight for the final time. This is where a race is going to be won and lost. BARBARESI is making a charge. You can see now he's got the bit between his teeth. You can see he can smell the win. It wasn't there 2 laps ago, but now he's thinking, Rushman, you're mine. 200 metres left to run, 13:44 on the clock. Oh, look at this from Barbaresi. It's like a prime-time Sebastian Coe. 150 left to run. It's RUSHMAN from Barbaresi. Barbaresi pulls out into lane 2 as they hit their final turn. The crowd go wild, and Barbaresi goes straight past and says, not on my turf, son. Barbaresi down the home straight. He's going to take the win in race number 5 of Comeback. What a final 400 metres. Someone send me the split time. Watch the clock. 14:12, 14:13, 14:14 unofficially. Brett RUSHMAN comes through for second for 14:16. Aiden LENNAN for third in 14:20. Jack Woods over the line in 14:23 with our Guildford athlete of Cameron REILLY and Cal Mills and Charlie EASTAUGH battling for the honours there between the London clubs. But once again, the race won and lost in what, the last 200 metres?
How are we meant to be able to predict this, Lloyd? I honestly don't know, but a lovely, lovely chunk of his PB from Barbaresi. He was on a 14:21 was his original PB, and I think he took a good few seconds off that, didn't he? So really, really impressive running. You know what? You saw the moment he committed, and he committed down with about, I would say, 300 metres to go, and you just saw him go, and that's always really, really exciting to see.
When I was doing my research on the races and making some notes, I remember looking at Barbaresi's Power 10, and I'm pretty conscious, I made note of it, that it was his first race of 2024, and I thought, you know what, Christ, it's a long time not going for a race. I don't know if he's had any injury problems, I don't know whether he's just, had a time away from the track, who knows, but either way, he's absolutely smashed that. Someone send me his last 400 into the YouTube chat, because that was something filthy, that was. But fair play to RUSHMAN, coming all the way from Hertfordshire, coached by Andy Obdell. He's run really well tonight. Callum Mills from Belgrade, he's run 14:26. I just had a message in the chat there. PB for him. Oh, it's what comeback's all about. And I just hate being up there. I wish I was down there. Do you know what I mean? Getting stuck in.
Absolutely. You know what? Again, as I say, these interviews are going to be great, because all I want to know now is what was that moment that he chose to commit. I'm so fascinated by getting inside the mindset of the athletes, and I think that race today is really represents that, and how those athletes are, midway through a race. Again, it's a sign of your fitness that you can be like, actually, I'm going to come back from this, and I'm going to start really, really going through all of that back straight of 400 metres. He must have had to make that decision whether or not he was going to go after it, and my goodness, did he go and get it.
Oh, didn't he just, but you know what, fair play to the lads up the front there. They really, really stayed on their task when RUSHMAN split the group. He splintered it well, and at that point, if you're a Jack Woods or you're a Cal Mills, you could say, do you know what, that's enough, I'll throw the towel in. But they stayed on task, they stayed honest, and they've all been rewarded with strong times, and I think a lot of them, if not all of them, have been rewarded with personal best, which is what it's all about.
100%. I don't think it's always necessarily about the winning, and in my experience, when you go into these races quite a lot, it's not, you don't necessarily think, I never think I'm going to win. I mean, that's just me, but I go into it knowing that I'm probably going to come out with a time, and that actually I'm going to work with these guys. And I think, as I said earlier, that's what makes it more of a team environment. I think that's why we're all so supportive of each other in this community, because you start that race and the person who leads it may well not be the one that wins it, but you're just as delighted to come away with a PB from that period of time and from that race as you are if you led out the whole thing and won it. So it's key in that kind of mentality to know that you might not necessarily be the winner, but you've done a bloody good job of trying to get yourself around it, and making sure that you're going to get PBs for both yourself and also your comrades. So next up on track, Mimi, I'm actually low-key buzzing about this race. I'm more so than excited. I'm talking so fast because I literally am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm ready. This is the first ever 800 metre invitational race at Comeback. I am so proud to be able to say that, and we have got a stellar field. Now it's being paced, I believe Charlie Wiley has just paced that 5k. Can you imagine? He's just done a 200 metre primer, and he's going to be pacing this race, but he's going to take it out in 1:48 pace. And the runners from the inside out: Samuel Stapley, Jacob Smith, Jordan Chambers, Matthew McKenna, Tom Waterworth, Kieran Sriskandaraj. I'll try that one again. Kieran Sriskandaraja. There you go, we'll edit that. Ethan Newell and Jack Dixon. And you know what? One of the athletes to look out for in this race, I made a note on my notes. To round off the field, Josh Dunn and Basil Rock. What a great name. It is a fantastic name, actually. But one of the athletes to look out for, Tom Waterworth, the under 20 from Huntingdonshire. He just wins everything. Literally has won everything. Last season, right? He's the under 17 champion indoor and outdoor for England, English schools champion, SIAB champion, and
night out of 10,000 metres last year, the Invitational 800.
This guy's
he
got
won
diversity.
that as well. Wins everything.
This guy's he's got diversity. If I could run an 800 metres and a 10K and win both of them.
No. He won the 800 metres Invitational at the night of 10,000 metres.
You know what?
If he did that, I'd be in absolute awe of the kid.
That's why I'm still in awe. To be fair, I'm still in awe because, my goodness, an 800 metres. So I started out life, fun fact for you, as an 800 metre runner at school. And I love an 800. I think it's an absolutely brilliant race because it's tactical, it's fast, it's actually long enough so that you can get some grit out of it and you can get into it. It's not a 400, which, to be honest with you, it's over before it's begun. I love an 8 because of this. They're athletes here, they're going to run fast, they're going to hurt, and it's going to be fantastic.
So once again, viewers, from the inside out, Stapley, Smith, Chambers, McKenna, Waterworth, Srish Kandaraja, Newell, Dixon, Dunn, and Rock. This one will be paced by Charlie Wiley in 1:48.
A little bit of silence here before the beginning. You can see them pensively waiting. This is what I love about it, though. 5K is a little bit nervous energy. 800 metres.
I thought it was Charlie Wiley pacing, but I'm just seeing now on screen it's not, which is probably good news for Charlie. He's probably thinking, oh,
his legs will thank him tomorrow, I think.
This is, it's a bit new. It's all new for us. It's all new and shiny.
Exactly.
An 800 down at comeback, but they look ready, don't they? They look nervous.
A couple of favourites then. So, people that we're looking at, Jacob Smith, who is the Ken AC. We've also got Jack Dixon, I believe, who's Kingston and Polly.
They've both run 150. They're the only athletes in the race that have run sub 150. Alongside Jordan Chambers. He's also run 150, 149. So, yeah, Smith, Chambers and Dixon have all run 149. And then obviously you've got the young lad in Tom Waterworth.
Exactly. Got a nice Brighton Phoenix vest there as well. And they're off. Here we go. It's a fast start. You know what? The stark contrast between the 5K pace and the 800 pace is strong, and they are hammering it down that straight through the first 100 metres there. And we've got an early lead, which looks like they're about to break. So remembering that with the 800 metres, they're going to start breaking, and then we can really see what this is actually going to look like and who is in first position.
So they're tussling there for the break as they go through 200 metres in around 24, 25 seconds. It's a Loughborough University vest on the front. I can see Jordan Chambers there tucked in the all-in-one Adidas speed suit, and the Hernhill athlete running strongly as well. That's Srish Kandaraja in third as they head down this home straight for the penultimate time. We'll get a split as they go through 400. One lap of the Millennium Arena left to run. 49, 50, 51, 52. We're on for a quick one.
These guys have absolutely pelted it around that first 400 metres, and it's beginning to stretch out a little bit now, as you can see from the front. Athletes are really beginning to turn the burners on, and this is normally the most stressful part of it. There's a little bit of jostling just coming through here, and I'm just trying to see exactly who that is, but it looks like it's Kandaraja as well, and then we've also got Jordan Chambers coming in hot too.
200 metres left to run. Jacob Smith, the Bucks indoor champion, running out of the Loughborough AC vest. He has got a challenge though on the outside. 150 left to run. We have got a race on our hands. It's the man I told you about. It's Waterworth. I wasn't joking when I said he knows how to run a race. He's running well for fourth, but into the home straight. The opening 800 metre invitational race at comeback is here, and it's going to be a flyer down this home straight. The man in the white singlet running out of Durham, 2:55, is going to take the win. Jacob Smith on the line, and he's done it inside 150.
What an absolute belter.
Bucks indoor champion. Bucks indoor champion comes down,
Bucks,
goes past the Loughborough vest.
The man, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Honestly, what an absolute legendary race for that. I'm so glad that we had that 800 in this.
That group chat's going to be fire later.
That was furious.
He's gone past the Loughborough vest and he said, that's why I'm Bucks champ, lads.
You know what's amazing with an 800 as well is that they're so smooth. It's a completely different vibe, isn't it, to a 5K, I suppose. But they so smoothly come around here, and there's so much room for these guys to basically make or break themselves within the space of, I don't know, 50 metres. I mean, literally, you saw them come through there. You know, we had Jacob Smith just absolutely zooming through.
Jack Dixon, that was Jack Dixon in the Loughborough vest, who was our long-time leader down that back straight, and fair play. He
did an epic job.
Well, he got that race. He kept that race honest. You know, down that third 200 is in the 800. That's when it can slow, and he kept it honest down the back straight. And really, you know, Jacob Smith should go and thank him for a 149 and go and buy him a pint. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Because it was almost like he was his second pacemaker, and when he did take the lead round this bottom bend, it was que sera, as they say.
100%. And you know what? The kind of silence before the storm is a beautiful thing to watch, because these guys know how fast they need to run this. I think going sub 2 is just, you know, the pace that these guys have is incredible. The training that they do is so different to what us as middle distance athletes really do. You know, they're working so much on their speed. They're fighting against that lactic all the way around that. And your legs can absolutely collapse in on you at any point during that race. So it's a slightly different beast, and I think they handled that really, really well. It's a little cold, probably for running really, really fast. So they've done a stellar job, to be honest with you, to get around that fast.
Whew, that was fast. That was fierce.
I really enjoyed that. I
like
really
that.
enjoyed that. And now
that'll stay that.
racing. I know. I think it should.
We'll keep that.
We need maybe a women's one as well. We need to find some women who want to run an 800. That's the key.
I'll take that to the board.
100%. Ladies in the comments, if you're in that chat, let us know if that's something you guys would be interested in, because I would love to see some women run super fast around 800 metres as well.
That's what this event's all about. It's growing every year, and 100%. If we can get a women's 800 metre invitation next year, we're on it. And next up, we've got the women. It's the Women's Elite 5,000 metres. Oh, I've been waiting all week for this.
100%.
They're head-to-heads, but what a field we have. Mimi, take us through.
Absolutely. So we've got Evie Locke, we've got Almi Naruka, we've got Kate Axford, Jasmine Wood, Meg Gadsby, Emily Lowry, Susanna Monk, Megan Marchant. Then we've also got Katie Hughes, Jenny Nesbitt, Georgia Bell, Eliza Nicholson, Christina Popovich. We've got Lizzie Wellstead, we've got Holly Dixon, we've got Kate Eastley Morris, we've got Stephanie Tucker, Pippa Rossler, Dominique Corradi, Jenny Selman, Tessa McCormick, Emily Robbins, Georgie Grech, Ella Burfitt, and Andrea Clement. 25 elite women in this race, all ready to run some absolute whoppers of a time, I reckon.
Stacked field, fastest in the field is Jenny Nesbitt, comes into this race with a 15:10. Welsh international, repped Wales at the Commonwealth Games, runs out of New Balance professionally. Knows this track well. Also got Nike professional Georgia Bell, has run this race before. Low 4-minute 1500 metre performer. Ran well at the indoor championships for the Europeans. Is now running out of Nike. We've got Kate Axford, last week announced her professional signing for Kip Run Running. She is the champion of comeback.
She is.
So she's come to defend her title, open up her summer season. And also Georgie Gregich, who was second to Kate last year, representing New Zealand at the World Cross Country Championship. So, I mean, they're just a few, just to name.
Exactly. And I think, you know, again, these girls, a lot of them have trained together actually for quite some serious amounts of time. They know each other really well. They'll all be going out for big times. It's a big year. Indoor season this year has been really, really impressive, and there's been some huge PBs from these women. So I think they're all primed. They're all ready to go. This is a lot of their kind of first really, really big attempt at 5K in the UK at the moment. There's been a little bit of, a kind of podium festival, Leicester, where that went really, really well. But the weather at Leicester this year for those elite races was really, really tough. So I think we're going to see some great things here because people are ready. Weather's looking good. That wind looks like it's just about died down because it knows it's the elite races and it doesn't want to get too involved. I think the favourites today are probably going to be Jenny Nesbitt, probably Queen Kate Axford, and Georgia Bell. So it's going to be really exciting. Yeah,
listen, I'll give anyone who starts on the start line's got a chance, but you've got to be realistic. They're the three class above tonight. Really, you know, two of them are professional. We've literally got two professional athletes in the race, which to say that in a London race, you know, they run professionally. This is now their job. They are paid to run. I want to make that real clear, and that's the level of runner we've got in these elite races, not just in the women's but also in the men's to follow. And I think between us and the viewers, they're the three that you're going to be watching out for. But what we've seen tonight and what we see consistently in British races is that this gives other athletes a platform and an opportunity to take scalps launch themselves onto the scene. Kate Axford did that last year, winning this race. 12 months later, she's now a professional. That is what these races are all about. And your Georgie Gregiches, you know, your Holly Dixons, the athletes in this race are going to be looking at that and thinking, that could be me in a year's time. They're under the starters' orders. Goosebumps, that's what I would call it. We are away in the elite women's 5,000 metres at the Comeback 2024. Evie Locke in the blue singlet of Thames Valley Harriers is our pacemaker, taking these ladies out at 15.50 pace. And straight away, it's Belgrave's own in the purple of Kit Run, Kate Axford up the front, right in behind the pacemaker. Georgia Bell in the kit of Nike, in the lime green, I'm going to call that, just on the outside, tucked into second, with Georgie Gregich in the Tracksmith singlet, tucked in for third.
Absolutely, the crowd is really beginning to come through onto the track now. It's a really nice kind of close, cosy environment. Kate Axford does always love to lead off on races, so it's really good to see that she's going to go out really confidently on this. I think she needs to. It's a really, really good headspace for her to be in. We've obviously got Georgie Gregich as well, who's been running really, really well. I saw her do a couple of road races, I believe, and a little bit of cross-country in that Tracksmith kit. And then Georgia Bell, who's had a fantastic indoor season start, and she's going to be really, really going out to try and win this today, I think.
Now, it's worth saying that you would have already noticed that there's two races within. We also got a secondary pacemaker for the second group, taking that out in 16 minutes. So we've got a front pacer at 15.15. The second group is being paced at 16 flat. So that second group is featuring athletes like Georgie Gregich, who was second here last year, Almi Naruka, Tessa McCormack, and the rest of the field there. But up the front, we've got Bell, Axford, Jenny Nesbitt tucked in behind the pacer of Evie Locke. We've got an athlete there on the outside in the green vest. Have you got a number on that one, Mimi?
I certainly do. It's number 215, which is Lizzie Wellstead. She's a Colchester Harriers, and she's got a 32.58 10k and a 16.31 at 5k podium this year. So she might have gone out a little bit punchy on that, but you know what? Today's the day to do it. So absolutely, let's see her go for it.
32.58 for 10k. That is moving. That is. So she's got some serious endurance in those legs. I can see there Tessa McCormack in the blue of Saw, just tucked in behind Almi Naruka, the athlete that runs out of Hoka. Obviously the daughter of two-time Olympian Richard Naruka, who ran for Spain at the Olympics in the marathon. We've also got Holly Dixon in the sky blue of Cambridge Harriers, and there's almost 4 groups now within this race. We've got that front pack at 15.15, the second pack at 16 flat, and then the rest of the field just trying to cling on, which at this point, Mimi, it's all you can do.
100%. Also, Holly Dixon has just gone under 16 minutes for the second time in her running career recently. So again, you know, she's in fine fettle for racing today. I'm really looking to see her do super well. She's raced incredibly well. She's at almost every race I've ever done, and she's a real racer to fitness. So she'll be looking for something really decent today, and she's just at the back of that second chase pack there.
So they're actually starting to close up now. That second chase pack has started to close in on the front group, so either the pace is slowing or that second pack have just gauged it a little bit smarter. But up the front, we wanted 3:03 for the first K. It's going to be a little bit slow, 3:09. Georgia Bell takes a look at her watch, and she might think maybe that time's not happening tonight. It was Bell that actually spoke to me about this race and said, look, I want 15.15. I've spoken to my coach Trevor Painter and said I can go there and I can run 15.15. My reply was, leave it with me, I'll try and set you up a race. And the best we could get was a professional in Kate Axford and a professional in Jenny Nesbitt, and I don't think that's not a bad job.
Absolutely not. And of course Evie Locke as well, just to note on there, has run 33 flat for 10k, so she's a brilliant pacer. She'll take them out at a really, really strong pace. I've seen her race a lot recently. She's very, very fit right now, so she's in a very good position to take these women to the times that they are looking for. Also worth noting, Jenny Nesbitt, also congratulations on her engagement. She's recently engaged, and I'm sure that will add some fuel to the fire for today to get a PB.
Too right, yeah, absolutely. I'll follow that. Congratulations, Jenny, on your engagement. Probably not thinking about that right now, but anyway, back to the front of this race. We've still got Evie Locke on the front pacing with Lizzie Wellstead on the outside in that green singlet. She's running a long way though on the outside of lane 1. She might want to try and get on the rail, but Georgia Bell is holding that position nicely. Nesbitt on the outside in the New Balance kit. Kate Axford in the purple kit run. Gregich on the outside. She's now bridged that gap. So that group of 4 has now become 8, 9, 10, 11 girls right at the front. You've got Naruka in there. You've got Tessie McCormack from SOAR. You've got Holly Dixon, the athlete who's gone inside 16 minutes twice now, running out of Cambridge Harriers in the sky blue just at the rear of that pack. This is anyone's race at this point. And one athlete I want to point out is the athlete right at the back of the pack there. Jenny Selman, running out of the Essex kit. Once upon a time, 800 metre specialist. Now, stepping up to the 5K. And all I'm going to say is if it comes down to a kick, that's one athlete I wouldn't want on my shoulder.
Absolutely. Jenny Selman is, in my opinion, a complete legend at that. You know, she's worked really, really hard over the last few years to get herself into shape to be able to run something like this. And she's sitting really, really nicely, running out sensibly, and just sitting at the back of that pack. So I think she'll have a sensible, nice run today. Might be one to get into the kind of middle of that pack as well. Looking at the front of these women then, so Kate has gone out really, really strong. As I say, she'll be quite happy to sit in behind Georgia, I reckon, and use Georgia as a bit of a pacer, remembering that Georgia is going out for a really, really tough time. So I think all of these ladies will be quite happy to just kind of follow the leader a little bit, maybe give it a kick. We know that Kate has a kick like a donkey, so I think a lot of the women will be probably very aware of that. You know, they've seen come back last year, they've seen what she can do over that last 2K of the race. So I think we just need to kind of bide our time a little bit with this race. These ladies are experienced, they're going to go out really, really sensibly, do times that they know that they can definitely do. I don't think we're going to see any kind of massive blow-ups unless there is somebody that's really, really pushing it. So I think the first 3K is really going to be about hitting that pace, making sure that everybody is in those kind of slightly smaller split-off groups, and these lead 3, which is Georgia Bell, Jenny Nesbitt and Kate Axford, are going to really take it away. So
they go through 2K there, 6:20 on the clock, so averaging around 3:10 a K. That's well outside the pace they would have wanted. That's far slower than they want. That's 15:50 pace, so they're well down on that 15:15. We can almost say bon voyage to that time tonight, and it's going to come down to a race. It's going to be someone that wants to win the crown tonight. It's Kate Axford's crown. She sits on the throne, and she's the queen of Battersea. Can Georgia Bell say, not on my watch? But Jenny Nesbitt's also there. In that chase group, you've got Gregich, the cross-country rep at the World Champs for New Zealand. You've also got Stephanie Tucker, running in the black singlet. She's run 16:21 at best. Almi Naruka, Tessa McCormack, they're all in there. But so far, these 3 are well away with 7 minutes on the clock.
100%, and I think what's really interesting is that pacer has slightly dropped out for them, so obviously they are letting Georgia lead it. This, I think, Lloyd, is turning into a championship race. These women have been running championship races for the entirety of this season. That's been their whole indoor season. They're used to this. They know that it's going to kind of come down to who's got the biggest kick, because all of them can run like stink. So really, for me, I think Jenny Nesbitt might be a real one to watch, because I've seen her race so many times and she's looking really, really strong at the moment. But Kate and Georgia have trained together before. They kind of know each other's style quite well, so I think they'll be really, really making this a tactical race. Jenny Nesbitt is a tough runner. If she hits the front tonight, I'm telling you now, those 2 girls are going to hurt to win, because she's fit and she's in that 15:10 in shape that she ran indoors. There is only one way that she knows she's going to beat these girls, and that is by dragging the kick out of them. Georgia Bell's one of the best 1500 metre runners in the world. Let's not sugarcoat it. You ain't leaving that down at the last 400 metres. Kate Axford is probably going to think, I can't out-kick Bell, so I'm going to have to go early at some point. And Nesbitt's probably sitting there thinking, well, I can't out-kick either of them, so I've got to go earlier. So at some point in the next kilometre or two, something is going to happen. The time's gone. 15:15, it's not happening. So someone wants to take the win tonight, and I think it's going to come from those front 3. Obviously, Georgia Bell, she's been training at altitude in South Africa with Keely Hodgkinson, Sarah Healy, athletes of incredible calibre. So she is in shape, okay? Kate Axford's on a high, just signed professional, so she's going to want to come and, it's her first run for the new team. She's going to want to perform. So much to happen in the next couple of laps. 100%, and I think when you do join a new team, I wouldn't know what that feels like, because I haven't signed professionally as an athlete. But having spoken to both Kate and Georgia, there is a certain expectation that comes when you join a new team. Abby Donnelly is part of the Kit Run team, and she's had an absolutely incredible year this year with her contract with Kit Run. So Kate's going to want to do something really special this evening. It's also obviously a crown defence. We know that she's got this in her. We know that she's got the times in her. Georgia Bell, as Lloyd said, I just wouldn't want to go up against her on it if it came to a sprint finish, to be completely honest with you. So if I was Jenny Nesbitt right now, I would be thinking about how I can start to really, really dial that up and get that kick out of their legs. I think also Gregic is going to come round as well a little bit. She's really leading that chase pack, so I think we could see something interesting from her. If this pace is down, Lloyd, and they're on for around a 15.50, it brings other people maybe into the mix for a little bit of a kick.
Yeah, look at that, 9:30 through 3K. If anything, I think we forget about the clock now and we focus on this and look at this as a championship race. It's Bell, Nesbitt and Axford. The winner's coming from one of these unless a disaster happens. One of the athletes in that chase group running out of City of Norwich is Meg Gadsby. She's got a 16:09 on her card. St Mary's athlete. She ran that in Battersea Park in February in the road race here, and she's running very strongly in that second chase pack. She might be rewarded tonight with a 16:05 or a 15:58 if she can close well, but we've got to give it to these girls up the front. The calibre of athlete we're talking about, these are athletes that train 8 to 12 hours a week, maybe even more, okay? Depending on whether you're a high mileage athlete. I know that Georgia Bell does a lot of cross training. She'll go and sit on the bike the day after a workout for 2 or 3 hours. These athletes are mustard, right? They're doing this for a living. They are not playing at it, and that is why these are athletes that can run low 15 minutes for 5K. And do you know what? It feels amazing to put Kate Axford in that sentence.
Oh, 100%. I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of the progress that she's made, even just this year. I think the thing is when you explode onto the scene like that, and let's not forget Georgia Bell as well, because she has come back into running and she has really, really made a go of it. So both of these women have kind of redemption arcs, I suppose. Kate coming from hockey, and obviously Georgia really kind of having another rehash at running and doing so well. Jenny Nesbitt also had some serious injuries over the last couple of years, and she's had to really, really work hard to come back to it. You're right, Lloyd, she's one of the strongest runners I know. And when I first kind of really got into running in my kind of later years, when I wasn't just being thrown around a English school's cross-country course, it was Jenny Nesbitt that was one of my absolute idols in that, because she is so strong and she can just give it beans everywhere she goes.
That shot on your screen right there, if I had to describe it in a sentence, the winner tonight is running. You've got Nesbitt on the front, who runs professionally out of New Balance. Over the last 12 to 18 months has had a torrid time with injury and setback. You've got Georgia Bell, who is a superb junior, English schools champion, goes out to the NCAA as a fantastic 800 metre runner with a time of 2:02, suffered incredibly out of there, hated the sport and fell out of love of it, and now she runs professionally from Nike after a renaissance of the sport, starting here at Comeback. And then you have Kate Axford, played for England for hockey, professionally as an international, top of the game, suffered injuries in her hips and her knees, and said, you know what, I'm going to go for a run, and came down to a local club, and 2 years later now runs professionally for Kit Run Running. That shot right there epitomises where, if you're going down to your first park run next week, be inspired by these ladies, because those stories are real life happening in front of you.
100%. And I think what we were saying earlier about the fact that this kind of race, this kind of event is really the opportunity to discover the next big thing. Kate was discovered here, and we obviously love to bring that out at Belgrave, and we love to bring that out at Comeback, but it really represents the development of her as an athlete. If you told her last time she ran this race, and she obviously won it, she had a fantastic time, but if you said that next year you're going to be against Georgia Bell and Jenny Nesbitt, and you're going to be in that mix, running with that, up for contention, nobody's going to know who's going to win between the three of you, my goodness, I would be proud of myself.
So Nesbitt has now hit the front. I said earlier in the race that if Nesbitt hit the front, I thought she'd really turn the screw. I think she's just teasing it a little bit. She's keeping it honest. She's not letting it drop. She's not giving the kickers what they want. That little bit of sit on the energy, just so they can reserve that kick for the end. But it's Nesbitt from Bell on the outside and Axford tucked in on the rail. Now for me, if you're an athlete like Bell and you're sat on the shoulder as she goes fast in the lead, I was just about to say, if you're sitting on the outside of lane 1 on the inside of lane 2, you must be feeling good. As we come down here, 13:12, 13:13 on the clock. Bell just increases the pace slightly, stretches Nesbitt, and it's Axford that follows. Could this be the decisive break, Mimi?
100% it could be. The thing about Kate is I always feel like she looks almost exactly the same every single time she runs, so you can never really gauge how she's feeling, but she's so strong right now. I really, really think she's thinking, I'm not going to let Georgia get away from me. She knows that if she lets Georgia go for it, she may well kind of basically lose that fight. So she's hanging on in there, which is exactly what she should be doing. She's doing fantastically well. It's stringing out a little bit. Jenny is slightly letting them go with it, I think, but I'm not sure if that's because she's thinking I can come back a little bit, or because she's letting them run it out, letting them kick it, or if they're going to really, really take this away as a 2 now.
Georgia Bell has just upped this tempo to a different crescendo. This is the level that we're talking about. She's just dropped 2 professional athletes, but it's Axford from Kiprun and Belgrave that's gone with it. There's still a race on there between these two. It's not over for Jenny Nesbitt. An athlete with that pedigree and experience will know that there's still a lot of running left to run, but it's Bell from Axford from Nesbitt, and I've been waiting 12 months to say those words down here at Comeback as we go through the finish line. 14.25, 14.26. It's Bell from Axford from Nesbitt. Bell looks stern, doesn't she? Look at the confidence.
100%. And even, you know, the thing is, as I say, what the runner is seeing, so what Kate is seeing is that really, really strong performance from Georgia, who is just cruising through there at the moment. Kate has got a kick like hell though, so I'm thinking she's just biding her time. She knows she's got to do it. She knows she's got to put herself in the pain train, and I think she's just going to really, really wait until the last moment to do that, because Georgia is winding up that pace. So Kate has got to stick on her if she wants to really get through that.
200 metres left to go. Georgia Bell, the Belgrave Harrier, the Nike professional. She kicks for home with 150, but look at this, she's pulling it up. Kate Axford is not done yet. She says, hang on a second, I'm a professional too. Into the home straight for the final time tonight. Georgia Bell streaks clear from Axford. Nesbitt further back in third. The crowd go wild down here at the Millennium Arena. This is what it's all about. If you're not here, get here next year. Georgia Bell is going to be crowned the Queen of Battersea and the Queen of Comeback. Watch the clock for the win. Georgia Bell, 15.34. Kate Axford for second out of Kiprun and Belgrave, 15.38. And it's Nesbitt out of New Balance who will round off the podium with a stellar third place in 15.45. And let's look at the performances further down the track. Almi Naruka and Georgie Gregic battling it down to the finish line. Can they break 16 minutes? It's going to be oh so close. 57, 58, 59. Oh, I think they might have just both done it. And it's Meg Gadsby from City of Norwich next over the line in a new personal best of 16.06, and Holly Dixon 16.10 on the nose there. What a race, Mimi.
Some seriously impressive running. I think, you know, as we said earlier in that race, that when the time went out the window, it really, really became a championship race. And I think those girls did so well to basically kind of push that through, go for it. You know, they really brought that back, really, really went for some decent times there. And this entire field of women, you can see a couple of these other women coming through now. We've got Christina from Belgrave Harriers coming through as well, the really strong finish. Every single one of these women has run so hard and so fast for this entire race, and they should be really, really proud of themselves. But my goodness, Georgia Bell, what a kick that woman has.
Do you know what? I didn't expect to see that type of race from Bell. I thought it was going to go one of two ways. I thought she would just go 15-15 pace and stick on it and blow the field apart, or wait until real late, but she went a little bit earlier than I expected with that kick, and I think that just shows the endurance that she's got now. We think of her as a 1500 metre runner, but let's be honest, she won Trafford 10k. You know, she's a serious endurance athlete. She works hard on the bike, she works hard in her cross training, she's doing serious level of hours of training. It's not just quick reps with Keeley in South Africa, she's also doing the graft, as we see Pippa Rossler just round that final turn to conclude this elite women's 5,000 metres. And do you know what? Kay Axford, she lost her crown there, but no worse runner to lose it to. But also, I think she ran a really strong race.
So do I. I think she should be really, really proud of herself on that. And the other thing that I'll also say about Georgia, and also the way that she raced that, is that she will have studied how Kate ran that last year 100%. That's what you do when you're an elite runner. And she will have known that Kate can kick from 2k. So her winding that up at that point, I think, was a really, really clever tactic, just to either bring Kate with her through that, which obviously Kate did go with her. I mean, they were so close even at the finish. So, and you know, Kate should be really, really proud of herself for that race. I think she did a stellar job. And to, as Lloyd said, to lose to Georgia Bell, I mean, I think that's the only person Kate Axford would maybe just about give up her crown to. So well done to all three women. Jenny Nesbitt obviously having an absolutely brilliant race as well. It's so nice to see her back and running, which is fantastic.
Tell you what, we've got a lot of love in the chat for Pete, and I reckon that's for Peter Bradshaw. If that is the right athlete that I'm talking about, chat, then let us know. Edinburgh Unis, Peter Bradshaw comes into this race off a 14.14 in Armagh, 3k PB indoor of 8.10. He's got a lot of love in this chat. Some of it I won't repeat, but next up, men's elite race. We'll go through the runners and riders in a few moments' time. I've got to catch me breath.
What an absolutely incredible series of racing that we've seen today. I'm so proud of all of those runners, and I think that women's elite race was just something that it's really, really special. You know, last year it was really special with Kate's win, and I think, you know, not to kind of overdo it, but I think what we've really done here is discover so many fantastic women who are willing to put themselves into that. The fact that we can even get Georgia Bell and Jenny Nesbitt running in these races is super impressive. And obviously we've also now got the crowds too. The crowds are stretching all the way around this entire field. So that is a testament to how many people have come down here today and are really wanting to watch some absolutely epic racing. Yeah, that beer tent is looking pretty busy. So I think people have had a really, really good time on that. Again, also just having a little maybe think about the men's race. You can see them on the back straight having a little bit of a warm-up now. Those strides are looking really, really strong. And, you know, you can see the speed and the pace of these guys that, you know, they're going to be able to really bring to this. So a little bit of stretching going on from them. It's an absolutely stacked race, by the way. And we've got some really, really, really decent athletes coming from all over the world. I think, again, you know, it just makes me so proud to say something like that when we can actually, in our little Battersea Park, you know, we've got the cottage guys who are super duper fast, and there are so many amazing people. Jack Rowe obviously trains in Battersea Park as well, and he has done some epic things. I've seen Phil Sess in this park doing some Phil Sessman.
Joking. I'm kidding.
You know exactly who that is, because how could you not? How could you not?
Too right. Big shout out to our sponsors tonight. Couldn't do it without Sports Shoes and Nike. Got the shoe try on down below us. If you're here, you should have been. You could have tried on a fresh pair of pegs or Invincibles. But yeah, big sports shoe shout out. Not just supporting it, but also funding a lot of it. You know, this meet costs a whack. Like, I won't say the number, but it's a whack. So big shout out to them, and also big shout out to Trackster as well for our media team on the ground, bringing you live interviews. But next up, men's elite race. Final race. I'm a little bit gutted. But let's roll you through the start list. So from the inside out, Scott Sterling, Ali Kinlock, Henry Dover, Fionn O'Mershew, George Watson, Ewan Brown, Oscar Bell, Ellis Cross, Andrew Fife, Charlie Brisley, Sam Bramwell, Rory Leonard, Max Hayden, Sam Gabriselassie, James Kingston, Noah Campion, Colbert Harry, Peter Bradshaw, Liam Stone, James McMurray, Andrew Penny, David McGlynn, Luca Minale, Callum Jones, Kurt Taylor, Ed Blytheman, James Gormley, Sam Tyas, Callum Thame, Quinn Miel Ingram, Max Milavi, Ben Biggs. And rounding off the field, Ewan Wilson, Joe Wigfield and Jamie Battle. Jamie Battle's actually been put up a race. But what, 35? It's a big old field, isn't it?
It is a big old field. I was just about to say that, you know, for an elite race to have that many men in it who can run that.
Who authorised that? Eh? I'm
going to blame Steve.
I know exactly who that was, but that's. I mean, it's good in a way, but hopefully they can string out safely. But leading runners that we just want to call out before they get going. We got so many professional athletes in this, but we got Scott Beattie, the Hoka professional, coached by Andy Hobdell. He's going to be pacing this race at 13:20 clip. Oosh. But up to the front, we got Ellis Cross, Hoka professional, Andy Hobdell, just come back from Flagstaff, joined by his stablemate and Rory Leonard. Those two are going to be well up there. We've also got James Kingston, had a really strong winter, ran for Great Britain in Belgrade, Serbia for the World Cross Country Champs. James McMurray, the 3:38 1500 metre man, stepping up in distance, now runs out of Hoka. But James Gormley, he's one to watch. He's an University of Oregon alumni, also Birmingham University alumni, 3:37 1500 metre man, dirtiest kick in the game. He's so fast at the end of a race, and if he's near it, it's game over for anyone. But there's so many athletes in this that could win this. I can't get him through them all, so we're going to have to do it over the first kilometre.
100%. Who's your money on, Lloyd?
James Gormley.
Nice. Okay.
I think it'll be one in 13:29.
Yeah.
I called it 3 days ago. But Rory Leonard is fit. Ellis is going to be fit. Scott Beattie is a mad talent himself. He's going to take these boys nearly probably 3 or 4K. Do you know what I mean? That's why I think it'll be a quick race tonight. I don't know whether they're going to get that 13:20 because it's a bit cold, but I think that Scott Beattie can take them beyond 3K, pretty much do the job for them, and then they're just got to race.
100%. My money's probably on Rory or Ellis, just because I think they're both lovely guys, and I definitely would like to see one of them win today. They're also just back from some serious training in South Africa, I believe, so probably going to be looking illuminated by these lights with their tans. It's got a little bit windy on that straight. I'm just looking at those flags now, so hopefully that doesn't impair anything too much. But I think it's going to be some fast times, maybe not quite as fast as we could see, but I think it's going to be really strong.
And it goes without saying, I mean, the love for Peter Bradshaw in this chat, I mean, he's worth talking about as a fan favourite, but also a favourite in the race, so let's hope he has a good run. He doesn't fall on the first lap.
I know,
that would be hilarious, but also horrible.
It's opened up to that. Even just looking at that start line now, you can literally see how many men are lining that. I mean, I'm a little bit nervous for them.
It's like Armagh 5K, this.
Well, we don't want that to happen because we do not want too many trippers. Hopefully they all just get out, they know what they're doing, and have a good race.
Here we go. They are under the starters' orders. Chat, if you're supporting anyone, or tell us who your money's on, because I have no idea. Here we go. Away in the final race of Comeback 2024, the Men's Elite 5,000 metres, the finale of tonight's proceedings. And there we go, Scott Beattie in the Hoka singlet. And look at that, Ellis Cross and Rory Leonard straight up the front, wearing their matching kits.
Easy to spot, we love that.
I know, it's basically like Butlins, isn't it? Yeah. Like, just wearing the same gear. But James Gormley, the City of Sheffield man, up the front as well, as I said, 3:37, 1,500 metres. Another Hoka athlete worth talking about as well, running out of Wirral AC, Joe Wigfield. Runs out of St Mary's, based in Teddington. Superb athlete, 3:38 for the 1,500 metres last year. In fact, he ran 13:46 in Monaco for the 5K on the road, which equalled his track PB, which he set last season in his own. He's only ever done one 5K on the track. So Joe Wigfield's run 13:46 on the road in Monaco, and he's tucked in behind 13:20 pace.
So he's maybe got something special in him this evening.
Well, he's got the gears, he's got the endurance. Wiggy is a fantastic athlete. Didn't go out on that Flagstaff training camp. He's been out in South Africa with Craig Wimrow and the St Mary's boys, so he's come back from altitude. But early doors, it's Beattie on the front as pacer. Rory Leonard, the European under-23 10,000 metre champion from last year in active first. Ellis Cross, Gormley, Wigfield, James Kingston's there, tucked on the back of this group. But up the front, there's also Scott Sterling. They can't miss out Scott Sterling. He ran for Great Britain at the World Cross Country Championships in Belgrade in Serbia this winter. He's a sub 14-minute performer with a 13:56 on his card. And there the group up the front, with that second chase group being led up by Loughborough University's and Belgrade's Max Hayden.
Absolutely, they're in a lovely little train, aren't they, these guys? They've really kind of fitted in nicely, which is fantastic. And again, this second pace group, I'm just going to have kind of a little pick through here, because they've got to really pick their pace here. There's a little bit of a bunch just slightly off that initial pacer, and you can also see a couple of the guys kind of really beginning to get in their space. Sam Gabriel-Selassie is also within that group, and he's had some really strong races recently. You've also got Andy Fife, I believe, who is a fantastic runner, mostly I think over 10k, but we can see what he does here, because he has been looking fantastic in training recently too. So exciting times for also this second chase group as well.
So pace at the front has been set at 13:20 pace. That is 2:40 per kilometre as they come down to the finish line this first time. This is where we're going to get the 1k split. 2:37, 2:38, 2:39. We're bang on the money. 2:39 and change for the chase group. Even Kingston went through at the rear in the Tonbridge vest at 2:40. Scott Beattie's doing a fantastic job. He's a 30:20 and change man himself. He'll be cruising at this, and he's got his stable mates in Rory Leonard and Ellis tucked in second and third. James Gormley in the blue vest of Sheffield in third, with Wigfield, Sterling and Kingston. This group is single file, 3 minutes on the clock.
James Gormley just kind of really sticking in with them, isn't he? And he's just following a little bit. There was a slight gap, but I think he's just going to try and stick on that pace really nicely. And as we said, you know, these guys at the front, they do this in training all the time. This to them must feel a little bit, with a pacer, must feel a little bit like a training session, because they're all together, they're all bunched up. They've done this time and time again. They're just really looking to do some good, really hard work and come out with the time that they're looking at. I reckon this is going to be slightly different from the women's race in that they've really set a pace and they've decided that they're going to try and stick with it. Right
now, this is a training rep for Beattie, Leonard and Ellis. They've been training together for months and months out of the Andy Hobdell Hoka on, shall I say, stable. It's just training, tucked in behind your mate, and you're just doing another rep. But that all changes when someone else takes the lead. If a Wigfield, a Sterling or a Gormley says, hang on a minute, I'm here as well, then things change. But as I say that, Beattie is still on the front, and Rory Leonard and Ellis Cross are just starting to stretch Gormley. And is this the point in the race where the pace is, you know, they're doing 63 and change a lap. Is this where a 1500 metre specialist in James Gormley thinks, oh, this is a bit punchy, this point in the race, bit quick early on?
I think so. And what you saw last lap was that Gormley was just kind of feeling it out a little bit, seeing if he was going to 100% go with that pace, and looks to me like he's made the executive decision to just ease off a little bit and maybe save something for a kick, which I suppose for him he may well be able to bring something out of. So again, I think a sensible and good decision to just ease off slightly from the guys at the front and really lead out that chase pack to make sure that you're feeling comfortable and feeling good at this point in the race, because what you don't want is to go out so hard that actually you kind of have to join that second chase group, which is looking massive, by the way.
As they round through the finish line, it's still Beattie on the front, Rory Leonard, Ellis Cross just starting to drop off Leonard slightly. Is Leonard going to run away with this? There's now a big gap back from Ellis to James Gormley, Kingston, Sterling and Wigfield. So we've now got a bit of a chase group as they down the back straight. As they go through the starting area this time, they'll get the 2K split. 5:20, that's what we want. 13:20 pace is 5 minutes and 20 seconds. 5:16. 5 seconds. Oh, we are bang on. We are seeing something special. 5:21 with just a second or two down, but nothing that these boys can't take back. Beattie splits his watch and he just ups the cadence a little bit. So it's Leonard on the front. Ellis Cross is now in a bit of a predicament. Does he continue to chase the 13:20 mark, or does he make the sensible decision to just maybe drop back and tuck in behind Gormley, Wigfield, Sterling and Kingston?
I think he might just be tucking. You can see that his cadence has moved down slightly. I think he made the decision to just kind of slightly ease off it a little bit, because there is a chase pack there. They are still hammering down that pace, so you know they can scoop him up really nicely and you can still get a race out of it, which I think would be the sensible thing to do.
Scott Beattie's lapping his watch now every 200 metres. Rory Leonard, what a story. Went out to university in America, found his love for the sport once again, and a massive renaissance to his shape. Comes back and represents Great Britain last season on the track at the European Under-23s and takes the gold in the 10,000 metres. He came here at comeback, the first ever comeback in 4 years ago. He came third in a time of 13:50, just weeks after the loss of his best friend. And I called that last 200 metres, and that for me was one of the most favourite performances that I've ever commentated on. And to see him at the front of my event down here at Battersea chasing 13:20 gives me goosebumps, with Scott Beattie still on the front. And what a race we've got on our hands.
Absolutely. You know, Rory's a really lovely guy as well, and I am always rooting for him, and also for Ellis actually, because I think training together, seeing how hard they work and how hard they hustle, you know, they come to races like these and they know what they need to do and they know what they need to deliver, and they really look to go after it. And you can see here that, you know, it's just like clockwork for them, and it's really nice to see how relaxed actually Rory is into this pace. I mean, he doesn't even look like he's trying, to be honest with you, which I think is just absolutely amazing, but he is gunning it.
Scary splits that these boys have got to hit, but in a lap's time they're going to come around for 3K. The split that Rory wants is 8 minutes. 8 minutes 3K. 8 minutes is like elite running for 3,000 metres, let alone doing it and then having to carry on for 2K. But right now he's in a class of his own. Scott Beattie is still there, and I really do think that he's going to take him most of the way. Ellis Cross is running well for second, but he's got to be careful of that chase group, which is headed up by Wigfield. Sterling is still in there, the Scotsman. James Kingston's having a good run from Tonbridge. He's just sat on the back of that group, wearing the cap, the cross-country specialist in a way, but he's just sat there. But don't rule out James Gormley. That man can run a 55 last 400 metres from anywhere, and if you've got 55 in your locker, you're always a danger.
100%, and Gormley's looking relaxed on that pace as well, so I'm wondering if he's just going to wind that up with maybe 2K to go. Yeah,
here they come down to 3K, 8:02, 8:03. So you know what, then for athletes of this calibre, they can bring that back. They're 3 seconds down on 13:20 pace, but do you know what, that's a lot faster than what I thought tonight would be. I thought it'd slow a little bit earlier than this, so I'm so excited to see over this last 2 kilometres what Beattie can do for Leonard, and whether Leonard's going to be left out of the front with about 3 laps left to run.
100%. I think Ellis is in a slightly difficult position now, because he is really falling off the back of that race, and as I say, you know, the best thing I think he can do is get scooped up by this chase pack and really use them for a little bit of time, because what he wants to do is get his legs back in the game. It's a little bit windy on this track at this point. You can see those flags kind of really blowing, so on his own and without a pacer to kind of hide behind, he's probably going to be working a little bit harder than he should.
Andy Hobdall's down there cheering off his athletes, and he is going to be so proud to see Scott Beattie, Rory Leonard and Ellis Cross running so strongly. And not only that, he's also got Oscar Bell, one of his other athletes further back in the field in that chase back, which is being headed up by Max Hayden. I can also see James McMurray, Andrew Penny. We've also got Peter Bradshaw in that chase group as well. Don't need to tell him to get a move on because he's got his fan group in the chat wanting him to run well. But the next split that we're looking at is the 4K split. They want 10:40 at 4,000 metres with a kilometre left to run. It's still Beattie up the front, no change there. There's not a lot going up at the front, and we're not going to know whether they've sped up or slowed down until they hit 4K.
I think what's amazing about the men's elite race as well is how close these guys are all together. You know, they're real racers, these lads, and even that kind of third, I suppose, chase group, which is still sitting bang on their pace. They're really, really nicely kind of rolling around that and working together, which is lovely to see. But they are all so close on the circuit. You know, they're really kind of sticking to their paces together. They're all very, very good at what they do, obviously, and they are kind of drawing in with the paces that are still sticking in there. Paces they're on this for a long time as well, and the paces are sticking in with that pace so they can get these athletes to the times that they need. And Rory looks like he is beginning to really, really tear away with that pace. 3
laps left to run. When they come around 200 metres time, we'll have 1K left to run. That'll be the 4K split. That's when we're going to know whether that 13:20 is likely tonight. Ellis Cross is starting to be reined in by Gormley and co, headed up by Wigfield. Scott Sterling, the Scotsman, is still there. James Kingston has just slightly lost touch now with that group, and that chase group further back in the field is now being headed up by the Herne Hill Harrier. Sam Bramwell, he's had an absolutely incredible last year running. He ran 14 low at Battersea Park here. He also ran a 65-minute half at Fleet. I'd know that because he was about 5 minutes up the road from me, but he is flying on the front of that chase group. He wanted to come down here and he wanted to run a fast time, and he's doing something really special on the front of that. But now at the back of the front of this race, Rory Leonard's alone. Scott Beattie's gone. I missed the 4K split there. They're running too fast. Further back of the field, Ellis Cross is being chased down from Wigfield and Gormley. James Kingston and Scott Sterling are there. There's so much going on, Mimi. I wish I had 2 sets of eyes.
I know, and it looks like Ellis is really, really starting to churn that out now. I think he's still got it in him. I'm rooting for him, but he is being chased down a little bit by that chase group. Rory is flying. It looks effortless from him today, and I think that's really, really nice to see. All that training paying off 100%. Absolute dividends over there.
Goes through 2 laps left to run, 11:20, so he needs a sub 2 minute last 800 metres. Now, I'm not saying he can't do it, but if he's going to do it, he's going to do it on the last lap. He may run a 62, 61 here and then drop something filthy like a 57 last lap. That's how athletes at this level are going to do it, okay? Can he do it with 650 metres left to run? He's miles ahead now. He's got to just get his nut down and graft. 600 left to run, 11:52 on the clock. That 13:20 is just slipping away. Imagine he had a little wave light in front of him. You'd see the lights just slightly starting to stretch away, but we don't have that down here. This ain't Monaco, this is Battersea. 500 metres left to run, Mimi.
The crowd is getting so heavy on this as well. I can literally see people gunning for these guys to run and get that time for Rory, and he flies down that finish straight. And then we've also got Ellis, who looks like he's really, really holding that pace, and I think that's so impressive considering he's had to run most of this on his own.
Oh, 12:24, 12:25. He's going to be so close to that 13:20 mark, but do you know what? I reckon he's going to just break 13:25, maybe 13:26. Ellis Cross is being hunted down by James Gormley. That is the last person you want to be hunted down with, on a track race. But let's focus in on Rory Leonard. Down the back straight for the final time. I told you about his story. The Morpeth Harrier. His dad Tony was a fantastic athlete in his own right in his own day. He now is coached by Andy Hobdall out of Hocker. He's got the professional contract. He's put in the big weeks of mileage in, and he's come down to Battersea to say, I am the best at this distance, and no one is going to take that away from me. Rory Leonard, 120 metres left to run. Look at the crowd. Lane 3 beer and cheer. This is beautiful to see. 13:15 on the clock. He's going to have to go like the clappers to get inside 13:30. Everyone wants Rory Leonard to run a fast time here. Come on, boy. Charge down to that finish line. Watch the clock. 13:26, 27. Oh, he's done it. 13:28 for the win. A new personal best for the Morpeth Harrier. Second place is going to be rewarded to James Gormley. Over the line there, in and around 13:40. Ellis Cross over the line. joined by Wakefield as Scott Sterling storms down. Big runs further back in the field from Andrew Penny, Max Hayden and James McMurray, the 1500 metre specialist, finishing fast as you'd expect. And I will just let you watch these scenes, because that right there is biblical.
You know what, it's so beautiful to see all of these men putting themselves on that absolute pain train. What I love about Rory Leonard is that he works so hard. It's all out there for people to see. You know, if you follow him on Instagram, and I recommend that you do give him a follow, it's lovely to see his training and all the work that him and Ellis Gross have put into getting those times for them tonight.
What time did I say it'd be running?
Sub 15:30.
I'll let anyone rewind. I went far off. I think I was a second off. I said Gormley, but nah. Rory stormed it, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely stormed it. And as I say, you know, it's nice to see these elite athletes really, really gunning for it in an environment like this. Like, all of this crowd, look at what they've seen tonight. I mean, God, if it was me and I wasn't a runner and I'd come down with my mate and they were, I'd come away from that and think, I need to put my trainers on.
How many do you reckon are down here? I'm going
300?
300-400 people. We've got 300-400 people down here still getting behind these athletes as the race concludes. Comeback 2024 was bigger and better than I ever expected it to be. It's been such a step up from previous years. And do you know what? When I just have those days where I'm like, oh God, this is so difficult. Like, this is such a
fighting. When we're fighting through getting these events put on.
Looking at these pictures on our screen now, this is what it's all about. Yes, it's amazing to see these athletes running fast. I'm so happy for these boys. I know a lot of them personally. I'm so happy for athletes like Kate and Georgia running so well. But for me, it's about seeing the crowd. It's about seeing 400 people streaming out of the exits right now to go for a pint to talk about what they've just witnessed.
100%.
That's what it's all about.
You know what? People in Battersea Park who might be, you know, walking around, maybe they've been at Pear Tree, they're going to be like, what was that event that was going on today where there's so many people coming out? And it's running, and I think that makes me so proud, because I've been running, as I said, since I was 9. And when I first started in this crazy sport that we love, I think that, you know, there wasn't the crowds, there wasn't the enthusiasm. Everyone thought I was a weirdo because I ran. And now look at us here, you know. As Lloyd said, Pure Sport were one of the kind of first real contributors to building this. And look what they've done with kind of normal people, and look what we've done with our elite athletes. We're bringing all of that into the mix, all of that community. And I think we should just be really proud of that. And I think all the athletes tonight should be absolutely buzzing with whatever times they got, because they're amazing.
Yeah, echo that, and absolutely spot on, Mimi. And I just think this is what the sport needs. Domestically, it needs it more than any level. Yes, we've got professional athletes down here. 2 professionals won the elite races, but domestically, it is in dire need of events like this. And I've always said that, like, we've had comebacks over the last 4 years that have not had the fastest times. They haven't had the professionals at the front, and it doesn't actually matter.
No.
Like, you could have the men's elite race won in 14:30, and it's just as exciting as what Rory Leonard has just done there. And the reason why it's just as exciting is for so many factors. It's the engaging social media promotion beforehand. It's the way you do a live stream. It's the team that you put on the live stream. Without inflating our heads, it's also the commentary team you put in place. It's the people you put on the ground. It's the MC. It's the food. It's the beer. It's everything. Okay, and it's people that are so passionate about this sport coming together for it, for what is going on around the track. The clock is almost irrelevant.
I agree with that completely. I think, you know, one of the most amazing things for me when I moved to London and I started with these kind of big races, because let's also bear in mind that it's very special in London, the kind of environment and community that we have. And, you know, to be a part of that and to see all of these races is absolutely amazing. And you know what? To be in a race with somebody who is a pro athlete, you know, be on a start line with somebody who's a pro athlete, I think that's one of the coolest things that you can possibly do. It doesn't matter if they absolutely razz you and lap you, because you're on a start line with a pro athlete. So, yeah, I think we should be really proud of what we've managed to put on and achieve here today. And for me, it's all part of something that's building. This is the beginning, Lloyd.
It is the beginning, and that's a good way of putting it, Mimi. And sadly, that does bring us to a close for our action at Comeback 2024 from Battersea Park, Millennium Arena. For those watching at home, I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had an absolute way of a time. Thank you so much to you, Mimi, for joining me on commentary. Your first ever commentary gig, and I don't know about you guys, but I think she did fantastically well.
Thanks. It was an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much, Lloyd, for having me and for hosting.
Listen, I say it every time on comms. Sum up Comeback for you.
I think just epic for me, and building. You know, it's going nowhere. This event is here to stay for sure, and all I can see is that this is going to get bigger and better every year.
Jack Buckner, if you're not watching, you should come down next year. This is where it goes on. Thank you, viewers. It's been amazing. I've been Lloyd. This has been my lovely co-host, Mimi. See you down the road for a run and a chat soon.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Let's go get a beer.
Yeah.